Dylan Joyce back on. Blocked! Indiana blocks the punt and falls on it for a touchdown! Isaiah Jones on the recovery.
This is 365 Sports.
Essential to come away with points in this drive.
Tony in the backfield there.
He's got it on the pitch. Tony breaks free. Malachi Tony spinning, scoring.
365 Sports is presented by IdealMRI.com. High-quality MRIs for $497 or less. IdealMRI.com. Your health is important, so is your budget.
Got to get to the 8. He's going to take off and run. Mendoza weaves his way first and goes diving toward the end zone. Touchdown!
365 Sports is also brought to you by Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, protecting Texans since 1952.
Beck steps up, delivers downfield, intercepted! Jamari Sharp makes the pick that will clinch Indiana's first national championship.
Remember when you had a guy, someone who could fix anything? They're still out there at Batteries Plus. With their quick solutions and expert advice on batteries, key fobs, and phone repair, Batteries Plus will have you in and out and on your way in no time. Batteries Plus, the experts in charge.
Finally, how are you going to celebrate, Coach?
I'm going to have beer.
Now, here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
I'm going to have a beer. Kirk Cignetti and Indiana continue to enjoy the afterglow of winning the national title. It's been over a week, in fact, a week and a half. And good afternoon, 365 Sports on this Friday. And we do appreciate your time today. If you are in the chat room, hit the like button. And if you want, we will also have 365 Sports tonight overtime at around 5:30 tonight for a few minutes. And we will take some of your audio clips, opinions, questions, etc. Paul Catalina and Craig Smoak. There's probably one of the quietest days I can remember when it comes to any kind of college football news. Like, really very little going on. There is the story, we'll have it in a moment, about Lou Holtz and a couple of other transfer notes. But you wrap up as soon as the national championship is over, even sometimes Monday night, you'll have the way too early top 25. We're going to get a composite of all the various media outlets that did that. We'll do that in just a second. We are headed to San Francisco on Sunday morning to fly out to go cover Super Bowl week, and more on that coverage here in just a moment.
Yeah, well, I mean, good. There needs to be a lack of headlines sometimes to make us miss this thing and to make us appreciate it when there's not always something going on. You can't complain about why won't it ever just settle down? Why can't we ever get rules? And then it's a slow day. It's like, where's the news? Like, we can't.
Oh, no, I loved it because today I didn't have time to try to really log into it and understand what was going on.
Sometimes there needs to be a lull. There needs to be a thing that makes you want to see some news rather than just getting hammered over the head with it. And I feel like college football has given us like 8 consecutive months daily of something of interest to talk about, whether it's on the field or off the field, and probably about 50-50 on those, whether it's on or off the field. Both have delivered. So, yeah, I mean, it's the offseason after all. It's supposed to be this way. You may remember a time when it was like this for about 2-3 months, and then you get to spring football, and it's like, oh, my God, spring football's here. And then for about a month, it was a little bit of news. And now spring football is basically dead, but it does give you a little bit of like an oasis in the desert kind of thing to quench your thirst. And then there was typically that, 4 or 5 months all the way up through like most of the summertime. You'd worry about baseball and softball and everything. But the last few years when they had the dueling portals, there was no break there. And then all the legislation in between. So I think this year will probably be similar. There will be a lot of weeks that typically would probably just be no news, but instead it'll be Petiti and Sankey fighting over something or some lawsuit. Like, that's all going to come. But it's kind of actually nice to have to maybe just find a topic rather than just fall into one because of the headlines delivering them so constantly when it comes to college football. Although it's been nice to have that constant for the last few years.
No, it really has. And Paul, you'd have the championship, but back in the day, you didn't have it going into the late part of January. There was the National Signing Day, then spring drills, and you're right, it was nothing.
It was
nothing.
It's kind of nice to have the time. And here's the thing: the calendar will always be something if they fix it. Ralph Russo mentioned that yesterday. Of if they fix it and they always kind of have something going on, then there'll always be something to talk about. There'll always be a news cycle for college football. But it is nice to get to a day where, and it was kind of nice because I didn't have to spend a whole lot of time looking for stuff. We've got a lot going on with getting ready to go, leaving on Sunday morning to go to San Francisco. So I don't miss it when it's gone right away. I'll miss it in about 2 weeks. Like, that's when it'll hit me.
Well, yeah, I mean, y'all will be so busy next week that you won't even think twice about it. And I'm sure there will be news of some sort because they're at least at the bare minimum, like some dude from Alabama that's preparing for the draft will be walking through Radio Row with his agent, and you'll have draftees that'll be eligible to interview and everything like that. But yeah, it is kind of funny to there's still always something going on. There's no lack of news. There's also obviously college basketball for the hoop heads that's going to carry a lot of the next few weeks. But it is kind of funny to look back on what it used to be like, where the national championship ended a bit earlier. And then it was just like, all right, it's basketball season until spring football. And then spring football, you get like I said, like a month maybe out of it, depending on what your coach decided to format it like. And then you had your big spring game, and it's like, all right, everybody, it's like semester broke. And literally it did in some cases. But all right, see you guys late in the summertime in August, and it's like going back to class, after summer break. That's kind of what spring football felt like, was breaking for 3, 4, 5 months, and then knowing you're going to rendezvous back in like early August, and that was going to be the ramp up. But now, to the point of the conversation, I suppose, college football these last few years, between realignment and legislation and all of the new things that are involved versus 5-10 years ago, it is a year-round sport now. So when there is a day when there's not really anything going on, it's kind of rare, when it was not rare at all not that long ago. But that's what it's morphed into at this point.
Well, you're right. And the Super Bowl will take complete control of everything starting, in fact, already pretty much this weekend. Teams arrive on Sunday, and then Super Bowl Radio Row will be there in some capacity. And then so will Zach Gelb. And then the game is 1 week from Sunday. So the way too early top 25s, it all depends on how you look at this, if you want a little bit of fix. But these are the composite rankings among, I think it's 7 different media outlets that did a way too early top 25. And Brandon's got them right here. Nobody on this list is going to be a surprise, but a few people say, hey, no, we're here to stay. This is, again, the composite from 7 media outlets, and Texas Tech at 7. Notre Dame getting a lot of love after bolting out of playing in the bowl game against BYU. You see the others at the top: Ohio State, Indiana, Texas, Georgia, Oregon, and then even A&M, despite the crash and burn at the end, Miami, and Oklahoma at number 10.
Yeah, the 2 non-playoff teams in that top 10. One of them is Texas, who's ranked 3rd, and the other one is Notre Dame, who probably should have been. It's a new day when you see 2 Big Ten teams atop the poll before you get to your SEC teams, and more of them than the SEC. But the shifting tide of talent is leaning towards that conference right now. Oklahoma at 10 was the only one who surprised me. I thought they might have more doubters across the way too early spectrum, given that they stalled out offensively, but it appears that they have. I mean, year 2 with Ben Arbuckle should be better. Year 2 with Mateer should be better. He was playing really well before he broke his thumb, and then in the middle of the season, they just hit the wall for a little while and could never pick back up. So we'll see there. Craig's the expert on that. I think A&M will be just as good as they were this past year. Next year, I don't know if they'll be better, though. That's the thing. If A&M makes the playoff again, that's really good for them, but they do want to be better. I think the same about Tech. Can they be better? And I think Notre Dame is going to be scary good.
Yeah, I mean, I think that a couple of years ago, there would be some major surprises on here, but based on last year, to see Indiana at number 2 in the country to start the year, it's not surprising now. It's earned, and it's just what it is now at this point. But we're settling into a world where Indiana's a national champion, and yeah, they're now, for the foreseeable future, going to annually be a top 5 to top 10 preseason team like they're Texas or Ohio State or some of these teams. So that's not surprising, but it still feels surprising just because of the newness of it. And then Texas Tech being in the top 10, it's not surprising based on last year. It's not surprising based on all of the headlines and the big gets in the recruiting field and all of that, whether it be portal or high school. But still, to just, I guess, adjust to this new universe where Indiana is a top argumented team for the number 1 team in the country. And then Texas Tech's like, where in the top 10 do we place them when just being in the top 25 was like a big deal for a lot of years? I mean, that is no longer surprising, but it's still very fresh and just different and new. So, yeah, it's interesting to see those two in there, but they deserve it just based on how these preseason polls basically work. And Ohio State, I mean, it always seems like they're 1 or 2, man. And they're never far off from that if they're not one of those two. So, yeah, I mean, Julian Sayin, just for starters, coming back, and Marvin Harrison Jr. and so on and so forth. Like, they'll be loaded like always, and it's just a matter of like if it's their year or not. But they'll be double-digit game winners, and it'll be all about the Michigan game and like one other game that'll decide whether they go all the way or not. But yeah, I mean, Ohio State's Ohio State. Texas, it's the Arch year, man. I mean, this is the year where you can say last year was probably a bit premature on the Arch Heisman run, but I think this year you look at the way he played as a full-time starter, and I don't think there's any caution tape or it's too soon, or it's like, no, like this is a year where, yeah, Arch Manning should be a very heavy favorite to win the Heisman Trophy. And on that top tier of whoever else you want to put in that list, whether it be a Julian Sayin or Marvin Harrison Jr. or whoever, not Marvin Harrison Jr.,
Jeremiah Smith.
Jeremiah Smith. That's who I'm thinking of. God, I was like, I know that sounded wrong, but Jeremiah Smith is who I was trying to say. So yeah, I mean, those guys will be in the mix with Arch, but I mean, I'm not going to push back on the Arch preseason hype a little, like I kind of did a little bit last year when I felt like I don't know. And then yeah, I mean, it's all kind of the usual suspects, but very interesting to look at. Very exciting. I mean, even though we were just talking about how it's hitting a little bit of a lull as far as the news cycle goes, there's still stuff like this to wrap your arms around and get into and debate on. A&M, just Elko being a kind of perennial top 10 team now themselves is great. Miami, that makes all the sense in the world with Mensa taking over for Beck and still losing a lot of talent, but you feel great about their direction. The Marcus Freeman wrestling video, I noticed I had bookmarked it. Did y'all ever watch that? The video, it was very grainy, but you could still kind of tell what was going on.
The confrontation with that.
Yeah. Apparently got deleted from the bookmark I had. That went away really quickly, didn't it? Like once the video came out, everybody's like, all right, never mind. There's no assault here, or there's no controversy here. Maybe we hear something down the line. But once that video popped, it's like, all right, on to the next story here. But yeah, they're going to be loaded for bear. So it's a bunch of really good teams. The usual big name brands, but a couple teams in Indiana and Texas Tech who are kind of the norm breakers, the disruptors, if you will, and then some teams like A&M who are still kind of trying to climb that mountain all the way. And I do think, Paul, it's fair to question Oklahoma a little bit. I mean, I think it was fair to question them as a playoff team last year. I mean, I felt like it was almost just sort of accepted that they got into the playoff, but even myself as a fan, I was like, wow, I'm kind of surprised not many pushing back more than they are on this.
I think they didn't have – it's because Alabama got in.
Yeah, that's why.
If they had put Notre Dame in and not Alabama, then the question probably would have – like the laser beams would have gone to Oklahoma.
Sure, they got the benefit of the distraction.
Because when they put Alabama in with a fourth loss or whatever, third loss, then they had to put Oklahoma in because Oklahoma beat them. And so – when that happened, they couldn't, who's going to be complaining about Oklahoma if Alabama is in and Notre Dame is not going to a bowl game and Miami's jumped them? Yeah, that would have been probably the target for, okay, let's talk about BYU versus Oklahoma in this thing.
Yeah.
But because Alabama got in, they were able to just be like, oh, well, nobody noticed. All right, good.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good year, real fun year. A lot of good stuff happened. The direction, I think, moving away from just like Venables' hot seat talk constantly was they were able to alleviate some of that and get in the playoff and have some good moments. But, yeah, there's going to be a lot of expectation, a lot of pressure next year, and I don't blame anybody who maybe doesn't feel like John Mateer's that guy, and maybe it wasn't just the injury. Maybe it was more of just like he got exposed towards the end or whatever. I know the defense is going to be good. I know that much, and I know they put some more weapons around Mateer, so hopefully he's fully healthy and they can go on a real run. But, it's fun to look at, and I don't imagine it'll change too much over the next few months, maybe a spot here or there, but that's basically the starting point I would have with most of these teams.
So you have the newbies and what Indiana proved. You mentioned, again, the Tech invasion into what they are as far as relevant in college football. And then a couple of teams like A&M, they're still talented. I think Elko brings a lot to the table. And then a lot of other teams you would expect to be a part of that top 10. Max Olson was on with us yesterday. By the way, today we'll have Zach Barnett, footballscoop.com at 3:30. Sam Kahn will join us at 4:40. And Andrew Billings will join us via Zoom up in Dallas. He's moving from out of Chicago down to Dallas for the offseason. He will join us today at 4 o'clock, and a few other nuggets too. And then you have Max Olson at ESPN, the top 100 transfer portal players. In the chat, or Paul and Craig without looking, and it won't be difficult to pick them, who are the 5 players in no particular order in the transfer portal ranked by ESPN 1 through 5 in any particular order?
Well, considering that I read this article earlier, maybe not the one you should ask.
You are like Bill Belichick.
I prepared for the show, so that was part of it, and that's where it fell in. So I'm not the one you should ask here, but Craig, if you haven't read it, would you like to venture a guess?
Top 5, no particular order.
I'm not looking at the graphic at all. Darian Mensah, Brendan Sorsby, Cam Coleman.
My God!
I mean, should have asked me before I looked up. So there's 3 of them right there.
Well, there's 4 bodies.
Yeah, I can't remember. Wake Forest went to Texas Tech. I'm right. I'm blanking on his name unless that's a different player, and I'm wrong on that. Okay. I can't really tell from
Darian Mensah.
Yeah.
And then the next one in that list is the defensive lineman, which is
Mateen Ibaroba from Wake Forest. He's actually
but not
8th.
A top 5.
He's actually 8th.
Yeah, and then you have Sorsby, who's headed to Tech and is at Tech, and Cam Coleman, of course, is at UT. Yeah. The only one no picture of Sam Levitt or Jordan Seaton are the top 5, along with 3 of those images on the screen.
Yeah, Mateen Ibarogba. I couldn't remember his name, but knew that he was going to Tech, and so now I will remember that name. I'm good with names when it comes to players, not so much people I meet all the time. It's weird, but I will remember now Mateen Ibarogba. There's been so many defensive players that Tech's picked up, it's hard to keep track of them all. But, yeah, I will remember that moving forward. And then, the other 3, that was I would have guessed them regardless of the graphic. Probably not Ibarogba, but who'd you say the other 2 were?
In the top 5, Sam Levitt and Jordan Seaton.
Okay, of course. Yeah, I think we would have probably gotten them if we had played a real deal blind guessing game rather than kind of seeing that already. But, that's kind of who we focus a lot of our talk about. And, man, what a cycle for LSU to pick up a couple of those guys. Great cycle for Texas and for Texas Tech as well, picking up Ibarogba and various other players. Both
Trey White also on the list hold on, I just scrolled past his name. He is like in the teens, 16th. So
who's that?
Trey White. They're the defensive end from San Diego State.
San Diego State. Yeah. So they had a really good haul as well, and that was to be expected. And then Miami with the huge splash. So Sorsby obviously with Tech. I just glossed over him, mentioned Ibarogba and the other defensive guys, but Sorsby was absolutely huge. So Texas Tech, and Miami and LSU, I think, are certainly the big splashes of the portal as far as the biggest headlines from this transfer portal cycle and the biggest names of where they kind of gathered. Those were those were the hotbeds for sure, I think, for the biggest names this past couple of weeks or month or so.
So, Max, with that list, and another one of those lists, people love graphics and lists. I like to look at graphics. I read a story last night. I didn't even think I was going to. Next thing you know, I was reading the entire thing. Now, a couple of other notes in college football. Lou Holtz, long-time college football coach, great coach, Notre Dame, Arkansas. He was phenomenal. North Carolina State, isn't that right, too? Among others, he's in hospice. And there's Tim Brando with a post because he knew him so well. Does not look good with what's going on with him, that he has been entered into hospice as far as hospice care.
One of the friendliest people I've ever met. Lou Holtz was very, very friendly. He'd come here a couple of times for speaking engagements. I met him once, actually, after I met him in 2017 or 18 when he was here. Whenever we went to, Q and I went to LaDainian Tomlinson's Hall of Fame induction in Canton, Ohio, we were able to go, and LaDainian invited us to the party that the Chargers were throwing for him, and Jerome Bettis was there. And so I walked up to Jerome Bettis, and I said, hey, I introduced myself, and he said, get away from me. No. And I said, I can you tell me a story about Lou Holtz? I'm not sure if we're going to get him on the show or not, because if we tried and we couldn't do it, but I would like a good story about Lou Holtz. And then he stopped and said, oh, you're going to meet Coach Holtz. And then we talked for 40 minutes.
Really?
Yeah, he just talked about Coach Holtz for 40 minutes and how much Lou Holtz meant to him and how much he did this, and have funny stories about, Coach Holtz would get mad, but he's such like a cute little guy that it's sometimes like when you, at first, especially when you get to know him, you're not really scared of him, but he's disappointed and all these things. He's a legendary coach. He's the last coach to win a national title at Notre Dame. He was fun when he was an analyst to me. So yeah, it's
had a great sense of humor.
It's really sad when you lose one of these titans of college football like Lou Holtz was. And who can forget that he tried to write a fight song for the Jets when he was the head coach there.
It's crazy to know that he was the head coach of the Jets. Like, that's just a weird tidbit that
not very long.
No, it wasn't very long, but it's a unique tidbit. And yeah, that's a fun little note on a very illustrious career. He's 89 years old, so he's lived a very long life, and wish him and his family all the best in what's to come. But yeah, you're 89 years old. It's a real long time to be on this earth. He did a lot of great things, had a lot of great memories, and I enjoyed watching him. There was an element of kind of innocence or kind of goofiness to him that I feel like we kind of still have to some degree with some of our sports personalities, but it just feels so much forced now. It feels like people are trying to be a character, and I feel like in the old like this is me just getting old, but I just felt like Lou Holtz was just kind of naturally a character. It wasn't anything put on. Lee Corso was just sort of naturally a character, and maybe McAfee's that now. Although I don't know how much. I know some of that's put on for sure. Some of that's ramped up, like way up intentionally. But yeah, Lou Holtz was a great college football voice and kind of character there for a very long time. So sad to hear that news, but also not surprising given his age. And so good luck to him and the Holtz family.
Yeah, he had that. Now I'm not going to make. Well, you can if you want to set it up for later on, Craig. I'm
not doing the voice.
You're not?
No, I'm not.
You can though.
No, not really. I literally haven't tried to do the Lou Holtz voice in years, and I'm not 10 beers deep. Yeah.
The Lou Holtz voice, though, when you did it, to me as a
it's
person,
unbelievable.
It was good. But a person who does impressions, some of them are hard to do.
Well, especially that one, because your mouth gets so damn dry from all the spit rolling around to try to copy the voice. Yeah,
there's some that you can that are easy to roll off, but when you try to do somebody like Lou Holtz, who had that like full kind of mouth of spit when he's talking, it's really hard to do, and you can't keep it up for very long unless you're one of these trained actors that goes to a voice coach.
Or you're like I was, and you're like 10 beers deep at the time you're doing it. And then
get 10 Diet Cokes in you, and we'll do Lou Holtz. It was good. It was really, really good. But Lou Holtz, again, in hospice care, we wish him the best. I met him one time. He was fantastic. He was a great speaker. And also as you guys mentioned, the last time Notre Dame won a national title in 1988 with Tony Rice as the quarterback.
Would Lou Holtz have skipped out on the college football playoff?
No. No
I
way.
think so. Yeah.
No.
He wouldn't like they would have been eating Pop-Tarts down there. Like he would have.
No.
Give me the cinnamon.
Yeah.
There was,
yeah.
a little close to it.
My mouth's too dry. It's sort of close. It's all you're going to get.
Also, there was a story a day or two ago about Texas Tech promoting Rob Green to co-defensive coordinator. Of course, Sheil Wood, well-respected what he's done, came in to Tech from Houston and is a highly thought of head coach candidate at some point. Sheil Wood went to Tech and said, hey, we've got a great defensive mind here in Rob Green, who was also up for jobs. I know Tulane was one and another school to leave Tech to become a defensive coordinator. And they gave him a nice raise. Tech, of course, taking care of their own. And Rob Green, when I saw that, I'm like, damn. So you have a head coach, assistant, all this stuff. But Rob Green, there's a nice note from Sheil Wood in taking care of Rob Green to remain on staff and be the co-defensive coordinator for Texas Tech. Also, there are a couple of portal notes today. Do we have the Wake Forest or Oklahoma thing first? Just put it up. Put it up. There we go. Jim Nagy, who is the general manager for the University of Oklahoma in their football program. This is a story about the NCAA who denied a player a chance to play another year at OU. And one of the things that comes into play here, and he goes, other players are being granted 7th and 8th years of football. College football governing body has ruled Owen won't get a 4th year. A 4th year. Evidently, the walk-ons 3 games in lacrosse at Ohio State in 2021 could not be reconciled. Good God, my eyes. This will be an appeal. That's an interesting way to attack the NCAA, but why not? Everybody usually does.
So and part of the reason this jumped out at me is that it's from Jim Nagy, who's the actual GM. It's not from somebody reporting that Jim Nagy's mad about it. He's just saying, this is ridiculous. We want Owen Heineke to be able to play this year for his 4th year, when Miami just last week got a player on his 8th year, which is the second time that's happened for them in very recent history. So they've got an 8th year player at Miami. Oklahoma doesn't get a guy who wants his 4th year of eligibility because of 3 games of lacrosse in 2021. And if you look at what Tom Mars's argument is in the Trinidad Chambliss case, it is that the NCAA, he used the example of the Rainmaker, arbitrarily or just says no to everything and then sees what happens on appeal. That's what they do. Everything's a no, and then they see if they can win or lose the appeal, which is no real good way to do anything. You should be reviewing things on a case-by-case basis and doing that, but this feels, again, it's very arbitrary why they say yes and no to things, and that's one of the things that whatever the new organization winds up being in the year 3000, when they finally get it all figured out, we'll have to address, because this is very, very random and arbitrary.
Yeah, I mean, I'm bummed for the young man. Clearly, he's a good player, participated in the Senior Bowl, and as Nagy points out there, I mean, the NFL is obviously interested, and so good shot that he's going to, especially participate in the Senior Bowl, have a crack. Somewhere at some point in the draft or right after. I haven't looked at his predictions of where he might go. I haven't gotten into like draft mode yet on a lot of that stuff, but clearly he's got a good shot. So that's awfully better than, point being, if he was a guy who, like, this is the end of the road for football for him. That's not the case. So that's good. But just in general, whether it was or wasn't, I mean, the ruling itself it's just silly that we don't know what the rules are. It's just stupid. And this is the kind of stuff that just drives me crazy as a college football and a college sports fan. Yeah, there's people that get crazy about NIL or whatever, even though, like, that's just legally, that is what it is. It's the rules around it that maybe are a mess and things like that. But NIL needed to happen at some point. It should have happened a lot earlier than it actually did. So there's things that change that you may not like, but they have to, because they need to. But I think we can all agree on whatever it is that you don't like or whatever kind of rubs you the wrong way about the NCAA, we can all agree that we are all in the same boat, and like just never knowing what the hell's actually the real deal or not, and what to believe on any single rule ever, and how just random it feels like. It honestly feels like with a lot of these rulings that they like roll the little lottery ball thing, and they just pick out a yes or no. Like, does Owen Heineke get another year? No. And why? Oh, he played in those lacrosse games.
Like that freaking wheel that Paul tried to kill us with.
Does the Miami guy get an 8th year? Ding, 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 ding. Yes, he gets an 8th year. Like, that's what it feels like, because it doesn't seem like there's all that much else logic behind it in the way they just sort of apply what counts and what doesn't. And so maybe if you're in the room and you got the guidebook by you, then it makes a lot more sense. But for those of us on the outside seeing some of these eligibility decisions, it makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. And feels far more like rolling the little thing and picking out a ball to decide whether he's eligible or not versus actually making real decisions and sitting down and doing it. So that to me is the big issue. It should be pretty clear cut. Like, there should probably be certain situations where if a guy played another sport, okay, like we need somebody involved to really look at that and say, all right, or the Trinidad Jambliss situation. All right, he played at Ferris State. They're saying it was an injury. Ferris State saying we don't know about any injury. They're saying Ferris State just didn't put the injury info out there. Ferris State saying, we still don't know what injury you're talking about. Like, so those things need to like get litigated to some degree. But some of this other stuff of like, yeah, you played in 2 games, 6 years, like boom, let him play another year. It should be pretty clear cut. Unfortunately, it's very gray. It's not black and white. It's very, very gray.
All right, so there we are with that. Texas picked up a wide receiver out of Wake Forest today as they continue to tweak part of their roster. That was one of the news and notes. Paul, you had that one up.
Yeah,
then we'll get a break and get to Zach Barnett.
Yeah, this is essentially, to me, and the reason I was interested in it, he's got a little bit of production here. I think that this is the Parker Livingston replacement, Sterling Burkhalter, 30 passes for 416 yards and 2 touchdowns, which is a good season for a wide receiver that's not the number one guy in an offense, and he won't be the number one guy at Texas. Obviously, it'll be Cam Coleman, but if you look at now Burkhalter and Ryan Wingo added with Cam Coleman, I think that's an upgrade at the position, no doubt, across the board for Arch Manning and the Horns.
Yeah, a guy who got his 6-year medical waiver.
Yeah, he did.
Why did he? I don't know. I don't know the details of it, but he got one, and the guy we were just talking about didn't, and somebody else will talk about will get an 8th year, and somebody will talk about won't get a 5th, or like whatever. Yeah, it's just kind of random, but in his case, Burkhalter did get a 6-year medical waiver, so good for him and good for Texas, and yeah, just add more ammo to Arch's arsenal that you anticipate is going to be pretty salty next year. So, not your number one guy, like you said, but still some production there to latch onto and to be excited about how he can potentially fit into that offense. So, another grab from Wake Forest for Texas, who's had a couple of Demon Deacons join the fold this offseason.
Hey, I just put a link into the chat room, which is the new link where you can upload audio for 365 Sports Overtime that Andrew put together. It also asked you some questions to kind of just fill out almost as a registration. If you want to put audio files in that link, it'll show you where you can, or just type a question or a comment, and we will use that later in the day. Coming up, Zach Barnett, footballscoop.com. Dr. Petty, Dr. Kent Petty, Petty Clinic, lowt.com. Special interest in testosterone replacement therapy. Low T is something that happens. It's part of father time, and it's for men. And about 1 out of every 3 to 4 men have symptomatic issues of low T. Fatigue, loss of energy, poor sexual performance, ED, loss of even sexual interest, decreased muscle mass and strength, weight gain, excess body fat, depressed mood, moodiness, poor sleep, insomnia, and mental focus is not good. Those are just some of the symptoms of low T. You might go, oh, I thought it was something else, but that can be the issue. So contact Dr. Kent Petty and tell him I sent you. Get on Petty Clinic, lowt.com. Tell him I sent you, register, and tell him what you're looking for. And he then will set you up to get your blood work. He will take care of that appointment. They will get the blood results, get in touch with you, and if your low T score is low, very low or too low, he can put you in a program to increase your testosterone level at Petty Clinic, lowt.com.
That's my go-to guy. Can you fix my smartphone?
Yes.
Do you have car batteries?
Yeah.
What about golf car batteries?
Of course.
Battery from a G-Fob?
Absolutely.
My boat?
Huge variety.
Toy boat?
Sure.
Motorcycles?
You bet.
My apartment building?
Whole building.
Do you have batteries for my party lights?
Yeah.
Batteries Plus, the experts in charge.
Save big during the Start Something New sales event at Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Waco. Drive a new Ram 1500 Lone Star Crew Cab with $13,000 off or choose 0% financing. Get a new Laramie Crew Cab 4-wheel drive with 3.9% financing for 72 months plus $15,000 off MSRP. Explore in a new Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo starting at $31,990. Happening now at Allen Samuels.
Come by. Let's be friends.
Bold are the adventurous. Determined are the leaders. Faithful are the healers. At Baylor, you'll find your calling, your people, and your purpose. Dare to be you, indeed.
Marco's only uses premium toppings, which means your pizza isn't just flavorful, it's mushroom-full, or sausage-full, or pepperoni-full. And you can get unlimited medium one-topping pizzas from the place named America's favorite pizza chain starting at $8.99 every day, only at Marco's.
I pitched in the major leagues for 24 years, and let me tell you, I can feel it in my joints. Shoulders, elbows, and knees. Trust me, pain doesn't retire when you do. I tried everything to get rid of the pain. Nothing worked until QC Kinetics.
Baseball legend Roger Clemens and other patients are getting lasting relief with QC Kinetics regenerative treatments. No surgery.
I trust QC Kinetics. You should too. Let's commit to getting rid of all the pain.
Schedule your free consultation today. QC Kinetics. Better starts here.
You got batteries for my side-by-side?
Yes.
Replace my flashlight?
Sure thing. What about my business?
Ooh, good one.
100%. Batteries for my fleet of trucks?
Gas floor scrubbers?
Yes, and fire panels. We have pallets of batteries.
Well, what about...
As your go-to guy, if it needs a battery, we have it.
Well, that's all you had to say.
Could have led with that.
Batteries Plus, the experts in charge.
This is 365 Sports.
The 3 o'clock hour is sponsored by Waco Custom Marketplace. Meats, sweets, Texas treats, and a cut above the rest. 425 Lake Air Drive, Waco.
Zach Barnett, footballscoop.com, joins us. And this Friday show, taking you up until around 6 o'clock today. Zach, thank you very much for your time. What staff change? And I know there's been a lot as far as coordinators going elsewhere or others getting promoted, not head coaching jobs, but what staff or what change this week has caught your attention the most in college football?
This week, I'll tell you, it's a potential one. The Notre Dame defensive backs job is open, and that's a job where guys have gone on to. We just saw a former Notre Dame defensive backs coach land a NFL defensive coordinator job this week. So, and then Mike Mickens got an NFL job. So that's a job that's proven. Guys like working for Marcus Freeman, and that's a job that's proven you can go on to bigger and better things from South Bend, even though those Golden Domes are big and bright on their own. So I know that there's a strong candidate pool for that one. The local tie there is Jay Valai, the corners coach at Oklahoma. I'm told the front runner for that one. I think that's the in my opinion, the hottest job out there right now.
Zach, what do you think that the Darian Mensah saga will do in maybe informing whatever they decide to do about collective bargaining, or at least a stopgap in the future?
I don't know that there can do in regards to actually collective bargaining. I don't know that that's ever going to happen, because the players union is essentially just the most powerful agents, and they have so much power. I don't know why you would give that back, even though the lack of security hurts the bottom members of the college football player population. Those guys don't really have a voice to speak for themselves in the same way that the NFL players do and the NBA players. I think if we're looking for lasting changes, it's going to be the general counsel of the ACC emailing the general counsel of the Big Ten saying, hey, can we get our hands on that document that you got that kept Jamon Williams at Washington? Because we'd like to just do a copy-paste job. So if you could send that PDF over, that'd be great.
Zach, did we talk to you about Dabo last week? I can't remember.
I think we did, but I'm happy to talk Dabo at any time.
Okay, well, I just was curious, like, days removed from that rant now. I mean, for the longest time, we had been begging for somebody to rip the mask off of who's cheating and who's doing what. And, I mean, he just laid it out like nobody's ever laid it out before. I was just wondering kind of if you had any much reaction from coaches you talked to or just people around the industry to him doing that and going that route.
Well, it's funny you asked that because today I was reading Stuart Mandel's mailbag at The Athletic, and someone asked him about that, and he actually looked into the NCAA rulebook and found that even though all of us treated it like it was a big accusation and that Dabo caught Pete Golding red-handed for murder, so to speak, the NCAA itself treats tampering as not really that big a deal. Like the level 2 violation, which is a misdemeanor in their rule book. And I mean, we're talking show causes and 1-game suspensions at most. So the idea that Ole Miss is now going to have their house turned upside down, even if the NCAA looks into this, I doubt that we really see a whole lot of consequences for it.
Yeah, that it always oh my God. And then nothing's even been said. The NCAA, I don't think, has said a word. I don't know if Ole Miss has responded in any way. We haven't heard from Greg Sankey, so maybe that's why, because they know it's a big bag of rotten potatoes.
I still loved it, though. I still absolutely loved that he did it. Yeah,
I did too. And I think most of the industry did, and there's some that probably said, you liar, or said things about, hey, let's discuss it's football, it's head coaches, although he's long retired, and Bill Belichick's now with North Carolina. But did you notice that Jimmy Johnson was probably the most outspoken of anybody when Bill Belichick, the news came down that he would not be a part of his first class in the Hall of Fame?
Oh, yeah. I wrote about that for our site. And I mean, good for Jimmy. It was embarrassing for the Pro Football Hall of Fame, embarrassing for all of us in the media. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but the media is not too popular these days in our society. And a large of it is because the average media consumer views us in the media as we think that we're just better than everyone else and have lost the moral authority we used to claim. And then you see people come out and say that they don't view Bill Belichick as worthy of being an automatic or a first ballot inductee to the College Football Hall of Fame. And you're like, well, I can see why people think that way. It's just embarrassing. And really, the biggest victims of this are the other Hall of Famers, because no one's going to care who got into the Hall of Fame this year. They care that Bill Belichick isn't in it. And when Belichick inevitably gets in next year, a deserving coach like a Mike Shanahan, a guy that should be in the Hall of Fame, is going to have to wait a year longer than he probably should.
Mm-hmm.
Zach, do you think Bill Belichick in North Carolina will take a step forward this year? I mean, maybe this fuels them or something, but do you think they'll take a step forward? Or as long as Mike Lombardi there, do you think it's going to be the same kind of talent evaluation?
Yeah, no, I had the privilege of hearing Mike Lombardi speak at a conference many, many years ago. And I had my suspicions about the guy, and they were confirmed when I heard him speak behind closed doors. So the idea that, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say they'll be flat out awful, but the idea that they're going to contend for anything serious under this current regime, I don't see that happening.
So in other words, yeah, we've heard that about him. I've read some things about it and heard NFL analysts even say that about him. And it has been a flop, no question. Craig?
Zach, your thoughts on the 12-team playoff staying as is?
Yeah, I think Tony Petitti is a complete clown and should be, if I'm a Big Ten president, I'm embarrassed that he's our commissioner. But this week, I'm grateful for him, because if not for his harebrained 24-team idea, we'd be going to 16, because everyone but the Big Ten wants it. So I'm thankful for him, because I'm happy that they're staying at 12. These changes to give Notre Dame an automatic bid at 12, I understand why it happened, although I don't agree with it. But on the whole, I'll take it. I think 12 really hits the sweet spot of keeping everyone interested throughout the entire season, keeping interest in the sport from coast to coast, from week 1 to conference championship week, while also preserving the value of the regular season to the extent that you can. And Notre Dame starting 0-2 digs themselves too great of a hole to make it back in. I think that's great. Texas loses to Florida, their season's over. I think that's great. So both of those teams have been in it, and I mean they could have competed if they made it in a 16-team field this past year. Either one of those teams could have gone on a Miami-like run, and that's why I think it's great that they didn't make it. Play better in September and October, and then you'll earn that opportunity.
Do you think that 16 would be it, or will it continue to grow? Because I just cannot imagine anything higher than that. I understand it might be, but if it does ever get to 16, remember we had none, and then it was 2 and 4. Do you feel like that would be it, or is that it's never going to be that's it?
No, I think they're going to squeeze this thing dry in search of any short-term dollars they can make. Because the people running the sport, by and large, don't think about the sport's best interest. They think about their own self-interest, as it is in many industries. So if they ever find a way to eliminate, to convince the SEC, really, and the Big Ten to eliminate their own conference championship games, then you've opened up a great weekend of real estate that first weekend of December. And if we're at 4 rounds, or if we're at 3 rounds, we'll go to 4. If we're at 4 rounds, we'll go to 5.
You're right. As long as there's more money to be made, you're right. Paul, anything else from you?
No.
All right, Zach, thank you very much. Great to have you on the show again. Enjoy the weekend, sir.
Sounds good. Thank you, boys.
That's Zach Barnett, footballscoop.com. And he and John Bryce does a lot of great work for him, 2 columns inside the website itself. The top one, he was mentioning this, Notre Dame losing another assistant, this one to the NFL. Miami hiring Al Washington as they get their staff poached a little bit along the way. When we come back, a couple of nuggets. One, a funny note from Kelvin Sampson, Houston coach on the Big 12, if it ever did expand any more, and who would they look at? That from him. Also today at 4, Chicago Bears defensive lineman Andrew Billings had a hell of a year. So did Chicago, with Caleb Williams and company. He'll join us. He's now up in the Dallas area. We'll have him. And then Sam Kahn will join us today at 4:40. And this is 365 Sports. Looking on their Facebook page, the Baylor Club, Nick Caldwell, the general manager, and what a place it is inside McLean Stadium off I-35 in Waco. For example, the graduation is not for what? Until May? Somewhere in May? But they're also already, in fact, graduation dates and parties and gatherings and celebrations adding to the list of events that they have inside the Baylor Club off I-35. Prime graduation rates are usually in the middle of May, and so you can contact them. They just do a great job of any event, whether it's a luncheon for 50 or for 500, whether it's a speaking engagement, whether it's a banquet, whether it's a wedding, and in this case, celebrating and enjoying various graduation rates and, I guess, graduates from all over the place. We're not just talking about Baylor. We're talking high schools as well. You can get a hold of Don or Macy. They will help you out in not only just securing space and the amenities and possibly whatever you have, whether it's food, catering, whatever, but also making sure they put it together for you to take that off your mind so you don't have to worry about the little things. They'll get those for you. It's the Baylor Club with Nick Caldwell, the general manager, inside. Tell them 365 Sports sent you, inside McLean Stadium off I-35 in Waco.
With over 25 years of excellence in IT, Carrion Solutions is your trusted technology partner. From managed IT services to cutting-edge cybersecurity, our expert team delivers tailored solutions that drive success. Our portfolio includes products such as Veeam, Bitdefender, Microsoft, Cisco, and Fortinet. Call David Carrion and his team of experts. Call 888-522-2221 or visit us at carrionsolutions.com.
Established in 2007 and independently owned, Alliance Bank Central Texas is committed to helping families and businesses meet their financial goals. From their tellers to their board of directors, they know the importance of superior service and competitive products. customers have confidence knowing that their financial needs are in good hands. It's your bank, Alliance Bank Central Texas, with 2 Waco locations, 4721 Bosque Boulevard and 191 Archway Drive on Highway 84, and at alliancebanktexas.com. Member FDIC and equal housing lender.
It's time to compete against yourself, finding too many excuses not to work out combined with bad eating habits, and Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness can help reach inside your competitive soul. Discipline, getting results you've only dreamed about, personal training, group exercise classes, and even a tanning bed, world-class tennis facility, and pickleball courts and lessons available. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness, spacious, clean workout rooms, free weights, state-of-the-art technology, weight training equipment, and no intimidation. It's time for you to react today, not tomorrow, at Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lakeshore Drive in Waco.
At BK Ford, we step onto the field every day for our customers. Here, legends are born and glory is earned. The spirit of competition unites us all as we stand as one. It's more than a truck, it's a passion. Get ready for the thrill, the triumphs, and the unforgettable moments that only BK Ford can deliver. Are you ready to experience better? BK Ford.
Hello, I'm Camille Johnson with Camille Johnson Realtors. We specialize in selling residential real estate agent all across our community, and we love serving all types of families. We have been in business at Camille Johnson Realtors for almost 9 years, and I have been a residential real estate agent for almost 40 years. And we love our partnership with 365. So thank you for partnering with me, and thank you so much to all of my clients who have made our company a success.
This is 365 Sports.
So Houston, of course, after the loss to Tech, I noticed that they dropped a little bit. Tech didn't move up very much for winning a game against Houston, but obviously the Big 12, we mentioned this a lot yesterday, loaded up with Evan Miyakawa on Wednesday, loaded up inside the top 15 teams in America. But he was Kelvin Sampson of Houston, Joseph Duarte had this, doing his weekly radio show. And he was asked what schools would he be good? Which schools would be good for expansion if the Big 12 ever did that again? And who knows what's going to happen in the next 2 or 3 years. And Kelvin Sampson's quote was great. If you add UConn, and of course that was a part of the discussion the last 18 months or so, it's calmed down quite a bit. I'm headed to the lake house. Arizona is enough.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great quote from Sampson, and I think it's a great answer, and certainly probably how most of the rest of the league feels, a bit tongue-in-cheek and jokey, of course, but they do have a lot on their plates, and it's a massive challenge being a coach in this league, even for the guy who's got arguably the best team of them all, although right now Arizona would have the argument as the best team in the league, but still there's a handful of them that are all very, very good and have an opportunity to make deep runs. And quite frankly, it'll be disappointing if they don't have at least a couple teams in the Elite Eight, I would say, at this stage. If you don't have some type of representation like that, then something went wrong along the way, because I think right now you feel like how many teams do you feel like are legitimate national championship caliber winning teams?
I think 3 or 4.
Okay. So, bare minimum, you need a quarter of the Elite Eight.
Final 4, good. I think there are 4.
Well, then you need at least 1. And really, for having that many, you should hope that you have 2. To sit there and go, well, what about if you add this? It's damn, man, we're already having to deal with this as much as we can. It's enough of a challenge, much less you add another wild card in there or another couple of wild cards in there. So, yeah, that's a fun answer. A little tongue-in-cheek, like I said, but humorous, and I like Kelvin Sampson a lot. he's been a great addition, as has Houston and Houston basketball to the Big 12. And they're definitely carrying their weight in basketball and did from the very jump. And they started to really show their moxie in football as well. The Willie Fritz hire was a brilliant hire. That dude just wins games. And so I think there is reason to wonder about what it could look like here moving forward, because we're about to hit that point where there is going to be a lot of speculation that's actually real, not just randomly throwing out things in May to just rile things up. But there's going to be real conversations, whether there's any legs to them or not. We know there was at least some legs to Gonzaga. As far as just some interest at various points, we know Brett Yormark specifically had interest in UConn, but the rest of the schools did not follow suit, so UConn didn't get added to the fold. I don't feel like there was ever really any interest in Oregon State and Washington State. I think that's bared out, although other people would have told you otherwise. I never moved off of that, because why would you add all the teams you added and not add them at that time? That made absolutely no sense to then turn around and go, and now they'll add these two. It's like, well, they just added all their buddies. Why wouldn't you do that at the same time? So there's been all these teams that have been speculated about, but it's only going to, I think, be more of a kind of a guessing game here in the next couple of years, because we know, everybody knows it follows the sport. When you get close to TV deals, things happen, things that maybe you do expect, and then times things you don't expect. So buckle up and we'll see what happens. But I think regardless, for the Big 12, if they added nobody in the next 5 years,
they'll be fine.
They are totally fine in basketball. Totally fine in basketball. They don't need UConn. They don't need Gonzaga. They don't need anybody else. If you could have them, it's like another cherry on top of a cherry top sundae. But yeah, they don't need anybody. But I like that answer from him.
How many cherries do you want on top of your sundae? I want like 3.
At least a couple of them. I love Marciano cherries.
Yeah. In fact, sometimes I'll get a Klondike bar, put it in a bowl, and just kind of break it up, let it sit for 15 minutes, and then put a little bit of whipped cream and some maraschino cherries on top. I love it.
Well, that was a really big compliment to Arizona specifically that he delivered there and how good they are. So, yeah, Arizona, I mentioned Houston pulling their weight. Arizona's certainly done that in basketball, as we hoped and expected they would. And so definitely one of those teams, you look at the national championship, and both Sampson's Cougars and Arizona are right there very firmly in that mix with a couple of others that could make it interesting. So, yeah, I love that quote, and I'm sure that will not lead to any reckless speculation by UConn fans about what may the future may hold, but that's a very good compliment from him.
There's only one game this weekend that is a game with 2 teams ranked in the top 25. It's KU at home. And then, of course, they're about to host Arizona on Monday. BYU at KU on Saturday. That's at 3:30 tomorrow. You have Texas Tech in Orlando, Arizona State. I don't know the history there. I know that they're rivals, but I don't know about in basketball.
Well, Bobby Hurley's like
Cincinnati. He's on edge.
Arizona State. It's a rivalry, but in basketball right now, you could not be farther apart on who's a real deal team and who is on the verge of absolute full-on collapse at this point in time. Bobby Hurley is like the deadest dead man walking in college carousel talk by far.
I've never seen anything like what happened last week at a press conference for a coach at this level, where he just very visibly and verbally was like, I'm kind of out of ideas. I give up. I can't. It's not working here.
Yeah, dude, this biggest white flag.
I've never seen that happen.
I appreciate that.
I do. I don't know if
he's smart, but I do appreciate it.
Being honest about it, showing those true feelings. Yeah, that's great. It's not great. It's terrible for Arizona State, but yeah, that was something I'd never seen before. And to go back to expansion, if I'm any of the Big 12 coaches and Brett Yormark comes and says, "Hey, what do you guys think about adding UConn?" I'm going to throw my shoe at him.
Yeah.
Like, please, just I get what you want to, Brett. I get it.
Yeah. Hey, Brett, how about this? Why don't you bring in all the 16 men's basketball coaches and let them tell you?
Yeah. We already run through a thin hallway of razor blades, but now you want to make the hallway longer? No.
And the razor blade's bigger. So that's the one game tomorrow. That's the big game. All the other ones are there. Cincinnati at Houston, UCF hosts Tech, Arizona State. Baylor at West Virginia, then Utah hosts Oklahoma State.
Yeah, we need if you're looking at it from a Big 12 perspective, the they really need Cincinnati to kind of get its act together. I was hoping for a bit more from the basketball side of things at this point. But yeah, Houston will probably handle them. And that BYU Kansas game ought to be, I mean, Paul, do you have any thoughts on BYU Kansas tomorrow?
I think it's going to be interesting for BYU going into that environment for the first time this year. It's always AJ Dybansa is a guy who I don't know, if he's a guy who's going to go into the fog and be intimidated because it's different, or if he's going to be, oh, please bring it on. So
he strikes me as the, oh, please bring it on type of a guy.
Yeah, he does. That's what but I think with Darren Peterson, I don't know if he's going to play or not. I think he's going to play. But if Darren Peterson plays at home, I like Kansas in that one, but it's not going to be.
I think Kansas is righted the ship. And of course, a lot of it has to do, and Peterson being available. I made a mistake on the Monday night game. It is KU playing at Tech in Lubbock. What a run for KU to have to play who they're playing. And, of course, Tech after the winning 9 of their last 10 and all the wins that they had recently against Houston.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, BYU's lost a couple of their recent games, but they've been to highly ranked teams. So, I mean, losses to 1 and 3 and 15, and yeah, they've had the schedule ramp up. So now Kansas, that's a pretty brutal stretch. We'll see if and then they got Houston not long after that. So their BYU is definitely hitting that meteor part of its schedule, and they've taken a couple dings. We'll see if they can right the ship against Kansas. But yeah, that ought to be a hell of a game. And I think so long as Yormark's commissioner, that UConn hope and dream will be out there. And until otherwise, I think that's going to always be a dream of his because it's kind of been since day one. But I don't blame any Big 12 coaches who are like, no, I think we're good with where we are right now.
Yeah, that just golly, I love looking at when those games are like. Forget BYU KU. I'm looking forward to that. I'll be driving around a little bit during that time, but we'll be interested to see that score as it comes down. It is Andrew Billings next, former Baylor. And also Chicago Bears defensive tackle. Saw him a lot when the Bears were in a lot of featured games. They made a nice run in the playoffs with Caleb Williams and company. Andrew Billings on life in the NFL and his thoughts about college football today. And that is next. And this is 365 Sports. Alan Samuels, Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat, Loop 340 east of 84 in Waco with Ted Teague, the CEO, and also the general manager. And then David Gray handles the entire sales department, whether pre-owned cars or even more. Alan Samuels has a lot right now for you, including they still have the great values on the 2025 Jeep Wrangler Sahara, massive $9,000 off. Grab a battle-ready 2025 Jeep Gladiator Rubicon. I got one of those. There's 2 of them, in fact, in the parking area where I live in the condo area off of Lake Waco. $12,000 off. Look good looking. They're both bright blue. And then also fully loaded 2025 Ram 3/4-ton limited slashed by $14,000. They have many more incentives for you. 2026 Ram 1500 Laramie Crew Cab, $12,000 off MSRP, or you can choose 0% financing plus $7,500 off. Ask your person, a client manager, sales rep, David Gray. If you bump into Ted, he's one of the friendliest guys I've ever known, CEO and general manager. Alan Samuels, Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat, Loop 340, and east of 84 in Waco.
Whatever it is you wrangle, whatever seeds you sow, matter what you nurture or what you choose to grow, at Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, we're proud to protect all Texans.
When you play hard, sometimes you fall hard. Sports injuries require special treatment. At Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, our team of expert doctors provides athletes and active adults with comprehensive sports medicine care, diagnostics, whether you're in high school, college, or beyond, we'll help you get back on the field. Call on the team physicians for Baylor Athletics. Call Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics.
This is 365 Sports.
We start this 4 o'clock hour. Sam Kahn from theathletic.com will join us in about 45 minutes. And look at the big fella, Andrew Billings. Young, still good looking young.
Hey, yeah.
Chicago Bears moving into his house in Dallas or moving back into his house in Dallas to get ready for the offseason. Craig Smoak and Paul Catalina also with us. Andrew, it's great to see your face, man. So,
good to see you.
Yeah. Can you tell me what your body feels like now, even though it's been a couple of weeks since you guys played?
Yeah. I mean, it's trying to bounce back as good as possible. But it's you got little nicks and bruises there that you still, got from the season that never really went away. And the joints are just starting to loosen up a little bit, starting to feel normal, I guess.
Well, I thought it was funny when you signed with the Bears because we were in Chicago with you when you got drafted, not by the Bears, but your career's come a little bit full circle there. And that is a fan group that is so desperate for success and really has longed for it. You guys were fantastic this year. It's the first year of Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams together. What was the ride like, and what do you see the future being for the Bears?
I mean, this season was great. I mean, this success that I haven't seen in my career yet. And we were some close games, some games that came down to the last second in overtimes. For the future of the Bears, I think they really got something special with Caleb, that offense and the defense. I mean, holding those games to those points, the offense do what they do in the fourth. It was great, and I think next year, after being in a year in that system, I think things will get quicker.
Andrew, you are 30 years old now, man. I mean, it feels like we're just like wishing you well off to the draft not that long ago. And it's like a decade in the NFL now at this point. Just kind of, how would you summarize your pro experience and just these last few years post-college and just what all this has been like for you?
I mean, it's been great, honestly. I've lived in a lot of different places. I've been through ups and downs my whole career with different teams and injuries and stuff like that. But overall, it's been a great experience. I can't complain. I mean, I'll do it all over again, basically.
Yeah, we that weekend with the NFL draft, that was special, and it didn't go exactly the way you thought. We did a show with you. We were in a big old restaurant that they set us up with some former Bears as well. So there have been, you said, ups and downs. Sometimes when it's been like, man, and then there's been exhilarating.
Yeah.
What was your, not darkest as in anything too deep, but the darkest time when did you ever question yourself?
Yeah, I would say when I got cut from the Browns. I was year 6, and I wasn't used to 1 not starting and 2 getting cut, and I was just like, oh, I guess they're just showing me the door. But that was a low moment. But I mean, once I got back into it and got to Vegas and playing, I mean, that was really history. So once I got through that, I was good to go. But it was definitely dark, and COVID too, plus that. So
yeah. I got to say this. That's probably, if you get cut by the Browns, that's a low moment because
exactly. No.
Yeah.
I am so sorry.
No. Hey, And then sometimes that's your what's next. Okay, let me play. Do you still want to own a trucking company? Is that what you want to do? The last time,
that's still in one of my dreams. I know that industry is not the easiest right now in these times, but I figure there's ways to go about it. Take it slow.
How much do you, and it doesn't always work this way, the momentum from one year to the next because things change so much, the schedule, parity, draft, all of that. Well, where is Chicago? Because it does seem like it's on the way up with Caleb and a lot of the young stars and what you guys did on defense too.
Yeah, I think they're on the way up for sure. I mean, that was a night and day difference from, last year to this year. And other than the offensive line and a couple additions at receivers, it wasn't that much turnover, honestly. Kind of felt like the same team, which I'm not really used to. But what they're able to do with that, and now they have some time to look at the draft and free agency and stuff. I think putting some pieces into place and figuring that puzzle out, I think next year is going to be even better.
What was it like to beat the Packers in the postseason? You guys hate each other. It's great rivalry forever and ever, years and decades. But then to beat them in the postseason, what was that like in Chicago?
That was one of the greatest moments of the season. Playoff win against a rivalry. And we just beat them at home before, and they beat us previously at their house. And, you didn't want – it was a – how do I put this? It was a pivotal moment because you can go back and forth with these rivalries. One person wins, we lose, and then, they win again or whatever. So I think beating them at home in Chicago during the playoffs, that was like the greatest moment from this season.
What is the coldest weather city that you've played in? Because you've been in Cleveland, you've been in Cincinnati, you've been in Chicago. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you played road games in Green Bay. You've done that. Which one? And I'm sure you've gone to Buffalo a couple times in the winter throughout your career. Which one is the coldest? Because Chicago, this time of year, it's a great city, except for now.
Yeah, I was thinking about it. I had a pretty cold game with the Steelers a couple of years ago, but I think Chicago, that last game, when you're in the playoffs in Chicago, I don't think it's any colder than that, honestly.
Well, you have to win, too. I mean, it's winning elsewhere, but you have the wind coming off the lake, right?
Yeah, that wind it makes it totally different. It'll be 10 degrees, but -2 just because of the wind, and we're right there on the lake, yeah.
When will the new stadium open? Is that going to be a place you could even play in by the time?
No, I will be watching them on the couch by the time they get that stadium.
Wouldn't you know it? They get the new. Let's say it was you get to do it. Would you want any kind of roof? Would you want any dome, or would you want the natural ingredients?
I want the natural ingredients. One, you can't throw the ball half the time, so they're going to be running the ball. So I'm going to be out there. So I like the natural ingredients. And, you get these West Coast teams coming over here, and some of the Southern teams too. They're not ready for it. They'll come out with a good punch, but man, by the time halftime's over with and their body temperatures calm down, but the sweat's still on them, and they walk out there again, they don't want it.
You guys had a couple of last-second wins, and last year you had a couple of last-second. Well, they had a lot last-second losses. This was a team. It looked like there was almost of destiny. I mean, gosh, a couple of wins. Because last year the Washington loss when Jaden Daniels threw the bomb, and it just like a walk-off win for them. But you had a few of those. Did you feed off of that?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it was after that Lions game the first one where they got us pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of it was either it's just like last year, or we better turn this around and do something different. And after that, man, it was a great feeling, but it was a weird feeling to have. You're down 21-3 halftime, and we're like, oh well, we're gonna figure out we're gonna win it. We don't know how we're gonna win it, but we're gonna go play by play and figure out how to do it. And we did it over and over again, which was, I don't know too many teams that do that.
Your defense, I think, you have guys who have had some accolades in the NFL, but you do have a lot of guys who are just productive. Like, they just they may not have the, all pros or Pro Bowls, but it's just production. What was it like kind of gelling together over on that side of the ball? Because, Montez Sweat's a hell of a player overall. On one side, he's been to a lot of things, but then you have guys like Nashawn Wright back there, who's been a bit of a journeyman, who had a fantastic year, and then some new guys that came in. It has to be special to feel that, doesn't it?
Yeah. No, it does. I mean, I didn't know where Nashawn came from, but by the time he was there for 5 weeks, you knew who he was and what he's about to do.
He was with the Cowboys originally, and then kind of bounced around.
Well, he left the Cowboys, and all of a sudden, people started coaching him up a little bit.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, you were 0-2, and the Lions crushed you 52-21, and nothing better than what the doctor ordered. Paul, the Cowboys came into town, and you guys drilled them pretty good. How much fun was that for you being a Texas kid?
That was fun. That was really fun. Cowboys has been a part of my life since I was born. So the chance every time I get to play against them, man, I try to put on a show and we get that W.
Andrew Billings, Chicago Bears defensive tackle, played at Baylor, was all Big 12, a defensive player, co-defensive player of the year, and was from Waco High too, which is just around the corner. So do you watch, you get much chance to watch your alma mater? Because it's been kind of a stretch of interesting the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, it's been a stretch of interest, and I try to catch some games when I can. It's always, I like watching, where I've been. It really brings back a lot of love for the game. So, but when I can watch, I watch.
What's the bench at now?
The bench? Oh, no, man. I don't have a pec injury and all that. I don't even attempt to go up there no more. But, I mean, I know I can for sure rep out 405 a couple times with good speed.
And look, and here's the thing. He's bummed about 405 because he's done 100 pounds more than that.
Yeah.
So
that's really – people knew you were really good at football, but that's really what put your name out there, wasn't it, Andrew, was the powerlifting?
Yeah.
What you were doing, going after records, state records and national records?
Yeah, it was after that state record that I set. That's when the offers actually started coming in.
How I've told this story to a bunch of people about your mom and dad and how they approached recruiting with you and how they knew how you reacted to, the first day of being on a visit where it's as perfect as it's ever going to be. Like there's never a day, as much fun as you may have in a college, that's as perfect as the day of your visit. There's no warts, there's no anything. But they knew that, okay, he's 16, 17 years old. He's going to get wide-eyed and be like, man, I love this place. And you still have 4 places else to go. Let's make sure you do that. How much does that inform the way that you make decisions in your professional life now? I know you have an agent that gets offers for you, but you've had to be in the free agency pool. Does that make it maybe easier to guide through that, to know what you're really looking for in a place, especially if you have multiple offers?
That's a good question. I would say in some respects, yes. Especially when it came to, in college, I wanted to stay down south, but I took my visit to Northwestern Indiana, just to get a feel for, okay, what is it like up here? And I think with that, going across the whole country in the NFL, I think making that decision and considering, the landscape of where you're going to be living, honestly, that definitely played a part into it. But the difference between NFL and college is, in college, I got to talk to the coaches. You get to ask, how do you see me fitting in here? In NFL free agency, it's more just like, okay, we offer you this, they offer you that. You kind of take that offer back and negotiate that offer. It's more about, honestly, the money than the football. I guess because the tape's out, everybody watches the tape, so the football part's kind of taken care of during the season. But that's probably about the biggest thing that helped with the NFL versus college is just the landscape of where I'm going to be living at and how I feel about living there, honestly.
So you were in Cincinnati for quite some time because that's where you started your rookie contract. You have now been in Chicago for 3 years. Are you an unrestricted free agent right now?
Yeah, I'm going back to free agency this year. This is my last year on contract with Chicago.
So what's that like?
Honestly, it's just waiting for the Senior Bowl and all that, the combine and all that stuff. And then that's when your agent, talks to the teams and you kind of get a feel for what's about to happen. And then when March hits, that's when it starts.
There's always room for a grizzly old defensive lineman, though, right, Paul and Craig? There's always, but seriously, because of what you've experienced and coming off a really good year too, Andrew, you've made some money. You've made some good money in the NFL. How have you protected that for yourself?
I mean, for me, honestly, the biggest thing for me is the CDs. I feel I like putting money up in CDs and letting them mature every year, every 2 years, honestly. I mean, that's where I put, a large amount, I would say. And then, stock market's a stock market. Just let it sit and grow. And you have any business ideas, to just take my time with it. Take it slow, like I said, with the trucking company. I don't want to jump into nothing too quick, basically. I feel like it's the best way to protect it.
Yeah. Do you have your license for that yet?
See, no, I have not had time to get my CDL. That's another thing. I want to drive a truck before I start the company. Like, I want to. What does it take to even do this?
Yeah,
it was just a dream of mine as a kid.
Yeah,
I heard somebody say today that you wonder if the CEO of an airlines actually knows more about flying than a pilot. I would think not. Maybe the business side of it, but if you're going to own a trucking company, you probably need to know about what it's like to run one of those, right? And drive it.
Yeah, because I mean, with trucking, maintenance is the biggest thing. And I'm trying to see, you get a guy who can shift some gears, high and lows, or you just get automatic guys, because you got to get the right truck to fit the right driver, or the right driver for the right truck.
Hey, when you do that and you need somebody to drive your trucks, just call me. I'm an incredibly safe driver, and I would just
Nope. If you want to take him on a ride in one, I support that.
Yeah.
Let him, honk the horn.
Yeah. But we can do a team. We can do a team haul across the country and see how that works.
Do that.
Take something now. Your mom and dad live off of Lakeshore. Is that right?
Yeah.
And is it in that little sliver that's kind of an off-road from Lakeshore, that's that little semicircle almost, or not? And near the lake?
Off the sliver. It's so. I've been. It's
when you go up
down Lakeshore, right.
Is it before the big drop, the big hill that goes
right before? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And there's like a little area there. There's like a road that goes off to the left. And I didn't know if I thought I saw your dad or your mom one day, both of them over a couple of different times. You'd have to have that to park one of your trucks in there. If you got room right there. You know what I'm talking about? There's it's about 100 yards or so, 3 or 4 houses, and a little black tar road that kind of goes off the main road.
Yeah.
You could put your 18-wheelers in there. Hey, man, you look so happy. And I got to tell you, I mean, you look young and like you do. You look good.
He's 30.
Appreciate that.
No, he's not young in NFL terms.
They call him Unk in the locker room, but but to us, he's young.
Every time we talk to Phil Bennett, and we had him on every week, by the way, Andrew, during football season, and of course, you know how much he loved you. I'm going to ask you to do this. We're not going to do it every time. You were about to make a commitment. It looked like it was probably going to be TCU and Gary Patterson, who's now at USC, by the way. And did Phil Bennett call you that afternoon before you jumped on our radio show?
Man, I want to say yes. Either, it's such a long time ago. I do feel like I was on the phone with Baylor. But because I think I told them I was going there before I even got on the show. I think so.
He said that the thoughts were you were going to TCU.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if this is like something you could have done back in the day, but he got on the phone. Hey,
10 years ago now, what can I do?
On a station that carries Baylor athletics and say you're going to TCU, you are not, and then you did change your mind, right? Wasn't that kind of a back and forth with Baylor and TCU?
Yeah. I mean, it was up to, quite frankly, who would I feel who was I more confident was going to let me play D-line versus offensive line, honestly.
Yeah. Well, I remember how nervous you were.
Oh my God.
I mean, just
pacing.
So, I mean, you could feel you're kind of like in the room. You're,
we were nervous only because we didn't know. It's not, sometimes you do, you don't. We did not know And when you said Baylor, we were like, oh, okay, because we heard that it mainly might have been the TCU factor, and I know the Baylor fans were thrilled, and Phil Bennett says hi to you all the time. Do you get a chance to talk to most of or any of your former coaches and others spread all over the country now?
I've had a chance to call Art Browse a few times. I know my dad talks to him all the time. Now that I'm free, I'm going to start making those calls again.
Yeah, he's got a job in eastern New Mexico now.
That's what I heard.
Andrew, great to see you, man. Great
Good
to
see you.
That's Andrew Billings, Chicago Bears defensive tackle. Was a phenomenal athlete, had great speed. Remember when he chased down, was it West Virginia or somebody on a screen pass and chased him down, one of the great videos and highlights. And what a great young man he is. 305 or so pounds, probably about 330, and can still move like a cat. Can move like a cat.
Yeah, he's one of the great college football players that I ever watched. I just didn't have a lot of questions for Andrew. You guys have such a camaraderie with him that goes back a ways, a few years prior to me, that kind of enjoyed just sitting back and listening to y'all sort of reminisce in some ways and also just kind of go over what's going on in his life. But I remember when, like, it was early on in his college career, there were questions about, like, the NFL, how long, because he wanted to just go open a trucking business. Like, that was the goal, was like, get to the NFL, make enough money to save up, start a trucking business, and then live high on the hog, right? Like, and he's 10 years into his NFL career at this point. I mean, he's bounced around a lot, but he's had some good moments, and he's definitely one of the best college football players that I've ever witnessed in person. I wasn't here yet, but I vividly remember him committing on y'all's show to Baylor, and what a big, massive deal that was for them at the time, and was one of the decisions that really launched them into that 2010s, I guess mid-2010s run that really defined sort of that era and put them on the map nationally. And so, glad to see that he's doing well and is happy and thriving as a 30-year-old now, which just makes me feel so damn old, because we were just interviewing his baby face on the practice fields, and now it was 10 years ago.
You're right.
It was
I wish
almost exactly like whenever it was when he committed to Baylor, exactly around this time of year.
National Signing Days next Wednesday.
Because we had just gotten back from New Orleans in the Super Bowl.
Y'all missed that lap over? The National Signing Day, Super Bowl week lap over?
No.
With someone like me, and I think all of us feel it, but that was not only National Signing Day on Wednesday, which was that was the only one, and it was a big deal. Now it's more in December. But UIL realignment, where teams and programs were told what class, most of them kind of knew, but the districts, that was Monday at Super Bowl week, and then Wednesday was National Signing Day. I do not miss the double up, and now even National Signing Day is nothing at all, pretty much compared to what it was in February.
We were at the Super Bowl in Indianapolis one year, and it was National Signing Day, and you and Larry, the cable guy, share a passion for the Nebraska Cornhuskers, and we interviewed him early in the morning as stuff had started to come in. It was one of our first interviews of the day, which is so then after that, Larry the cable guy would make periodic stops by the table and ask Smokey, how we doing, Hoss?
Yeah,
doing good?
Oh, well, a bunch of 5 stars, baby.
It's good to know that he's a real fan.
Yeah,
like he's not just some phony, like, hop on the bandwagon, which, I mean, we'll be hop on for recently, honestly. But he's a real deal, true fan. And I kind of do miss that part of the recruiting system, the way that it was, like having that big National Signing Day. It was a busy day, but like in a good way. And it was fun to see when you woke up that morning, like who had made the big surprise flip or who had whatever. And I don't know, it was just a more innocent time, even though it wasn't innocent by any means. There was still $100 handshakes and backdoor deals and all sorts of stuff going on. It's just, it was a different beast, that's for sure. And it was kind of fun to have that one day. And then it's like, and you know what was so fun about it in hindsight? That was your freaking class. And then you moved on, and those guys were there for 4 years, and maybe one transferred in 4 years, maybe 2. But no, it is what it is. But I'll always remember Andrew Billings alongside of like the more traditional National Signing Day when I think about it.
Paul, you get your email? Sorry, Craig. We just got news on Super Bowl next week that we were looking for. I didn't ask him about Gibson's Seafood Steakhouse. That was it. I wonder what his best favorite restaurant is in Chicago. But man,
I mean, I don't know. There's a billion of them to choose from, so I don't know if that one would make the top of the list, but maybe it would. I'm not quite sure. That was, I guess, a question you could tuck away for next time, though.
Yeah,
do we need to take a break for you to celebrate?
No. Well, we can discuss it. No, discuss.
I mean,
take a break.
Our week next week in San Francisco and Super Bowl Radio Row, and we're thrilled to be able to go there. But there's been kind of some ups and downs this week on what we could or couldn't do, and it has been something that no matter what, we were going to go full throttle with Zach Gelb's show and then ours as well. We'll come back with a little nugget on that. That's a pretty damn good nugget. This is 365 Sports. Ideal. MRI.com. It is a wonderful place for you to find out what is bothering you that may keep you up at night. I had about 3 days ago, and I don't know what it was. I have worked out, and I have been doing more with my shoulder. My left shoulder's shot. But I did have rotator cuff surgery 10 years ago on my right shoulder, and so I was doing some weight, nothing crazy. I've gotten smart about that. But about 2 days later, I woke up, I'm like, oh, my God. And the first thing, this has lasted for a couple of days. The first thing I thought about was what happened to my shoulder. It was the back of my shoulder 10 or 12 years ago. And I was like, I'm going to have to get an MRI. It hurt that much. Excuse me. I thought about, well, I'll have to get Dr. Haynes to call Ideal MRI, set me up with an MRI, and the great people at Ideal MRI in Waco do an incredible job. It's comfortable. It's not comfortable, the feeling, the pain, a muscle, a ligament, whatever it is, but it's comfortable because I know that is an incredible business. Elite at what they do. A state-of-the-art imaging machine, $497 or less every time at Ideal MRI in the Central Texas Marketplace off I-35 in Waco.
Petty Clinic Men's Healthcare in Woodway is now proud to offer you men an exceptional weight management body sculpting product called semaglutide, also known as Ozempic or Wegovy. Semaglutide is an FDA-approved weight management medication. Once-a-week injections of this powerful medication offers an average body fat weight loss of 20% within the first year of treatment. In addition to body sculpting, semaglutide also normalizes blood sugars and has the clinical research proof of reducing blood pressure, cholesterol, stroke, and heart attack risk. If you're like most men and you have stubborn fat that will just not respond to typical diets and exercise, then help is finally here. Semaglutide, affordable, highly effective. Google search Petty Clinic Waco and reach out to the Petty Clinic team today for a free consultation with Dr. Petty to see if semaglutide is right for you. Go to pettycliniclowt.com.
Whatever it is you wrangle, whatever seeds you sow, no matter what you nurture or what you choose to grow, at Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, we're proud to protect all Texans.
Serving Central Texas since 1889, TFNB Your Bank for Life takes pride in being more than a bank. At TFNB, we remain committed to these principles. If you value them too, come join us. TFNB, Your Bank for Life.
UBO Business Services. We are a studies-based service organization that is the best in Texas when it comes to copiers, printers, and scanners. The way we quantify that is through a company used by millions of corporations called Net Promoter Score. What Net Promoter Score looks at are your Google reviews. We have a better Net Promoter Score than H-E-B with a 65 and Ritz-Carlton Hotels with a 70. According to Net Promoter Score, if you're a 70 or above, you're considered world-class in customer service. UBO Business Services is an 86 when it comes to Net Promoter Score. You can find us at ubeo.com, ubeo.com.
This is 365 Sports.
All right, Super Chat City. We appreciate those of you that you, first of all, give us any time, whether it's 5 seconds or, well, want more than that. But there are a lot of you that are in the chat room, but then also send something because you have a question, you have a comment, you want to also contribute to what Garrett does with his gummies when we get to San Francisco, all of that is helpful as he does a fist pump. Let's do the super chats, Brandon. I think we got 4 of them. Let's see. Matt Christian, legendary Mark was the Marquez, from Stanford, baseball coach, passed away today. Hate to hear that. Thank you for sharing that information. He won a couple of national titles back-to-back in 87, 88, and went to the College World Series a handful of times as well.
Yeah, he built Stanford into a baseball juggernaut for a long time. Sad to hear that. Sad to hear that.
Now, another one. This from retired stockbroker in Lake Livingston or down where the Boggy Creek or whatever. The Dragon is much appreciated in here. This was early on when we were talking in the headlines, and the Dragon is much appreciated in here. We get all that money, but thank you for telling Craig that you like what he does on the show.
Retired stockbroker. Don't know what caused that donation there, but I very much appreciate the kind words. They mean a lot, and so thank you very much, and appreciate you and various others that are regularly with us as well.
Just don't give him your cell phone number. Don't. I take a lot of the calls and texts from Chris and a lot of people who are in the chat room, and we appreciate that a lot. Thank you very much. Let's see. You got another one? That's it. Appreciate that. So the reason I was kind of like off on cloud 9.
Yeah, I got to say, there are some times when people do not see what's going on. So, like, I'm sitting here trying to talk and, like, get the camera on me. So, like, I'm sitting here trying to talk and just over to the side of me is like this is going on and, like, this is going on.
Sometimes
and I'm sitting here like
you and I are fighting.
And so, like, I'm like scholarship, whatever. And yeah, it's just, it's crazy. So
right.
Go ahead and get to what y'all were trying to do, making me look like I can't form a thought. I'm just distracted because there's a celebration ongoing.
I went like this. I did. But here's the thing. So we are going to be in San Francisco, but it wasn't always completely 100% on because I got an email back on Saturday a week ago that said that we were not going to be confirmed or given a space of tables, 8-foot tables on Radio Row inside the Moscone Convention Center, which is Radio Row, less tables this year. Paul sent an email. I sent like 3 just to kind of, hey, this is how it all started 30-something years ago. We have a big commitment financially and with who's going. 5 of us plus 2 others that are going to meet us there that will help with guests. And Zach's going to be there too. Zach Gelb, this show 1 to 3. And we did not have a space. We were just going to go in Rambo style it, Paul. We were just going to, if there's 130 tables, sometimes there's maybe 150. This year there's less. About 12 of them were tables for university or collegiate type radio stations. And that's great for the students to learn it and be a part of that atmosphere. And that sounds like that's great. But we weren't going to get one, but we've been there before. Craig, how many times and you haven't been in a while, it's been, 3 or 4 years. How many times when we are on Radio Row and we get there in the first 2 or 3 days, how many empty tables will you see among, let's say, the 150 or so that are there?
I mean, like you said, I haven't been in a while, so Paul would probably be the better person to ask about this. But, typically when I went years ago, there was a few here and there. It really just all kind of depended on what city it was. But there were times when there were multiple. There were times where there's maybe 1 or 2. There are times where I don't think there probably were any until maybe the end of the week and a guy left like on a Thursday night and didn't do a Friday show. But I didn't think that you were guaranteed to show up and there would be empty tables. I'll say that. Mm-hmm. I think you were convinced of that, but I wouldn't necessarily have bet that. It's usually pretty crowded for the most part.
Yeah, we're likely sharing a table with another station. A lot of stations are doing that this year. So
I don't think we were likely to. I think we were going to have to find some place.
Likely are now.
We weren't arrested because of where we were broadcasting.
Yes.
From, right?
Yes, we have some space. It's going to be crazy this year. I know a lot of people. 2 media outlets are sharing. You just hope that they get along. As far as sharing goes, we are sharing with San Antonio, which are friends of ours. So that's good. There are, I've been told, 2 affiliates from Denver could be going, and they're competing, or the ticket
Competing
and the fan,
station, yeah.
the ticket and the fan in Dallas are going. They always go. They could have the same table.
No,
I think the ticket is
but-
like an exclusive class where they will never have to do something
Yeah, but
like that.
that's just the example.
But yeah, that's the
of-
example.
And then
yes.
and the fan has like all day shows like the ticket. But we've been working on this behind the scenes, and there was maybe yesterday there was a chance that we're not going. We're not going to be able to have a setup. We're not going to then be able to get some of the guests that we have. Like one of them's a Hall of Famer in Devin Hester, or other guests that we have. And we worked the system as much as we could, people that we've known before. And I just got an email 22 minutes ago. Your organization has been granted dedicated space to broadcast live from Radio Row, Super Bowl 50, inside the Moscone Center.
Well, I'm glad that y'all got
That does
clearance.
help. Yeah.
I think you need to just temper expectations a little bit like Paul is, because you're reading dedicated space and hoping that means your own dedicated table. Paul is being more cautious and saying we're probably going to have to share. But either way, the good news is that as of when we left yesterday, I was fully expecting, hell, before I got here today, I'd missed a text that Paul had sent. I was fully expecting that y'all weren't going at all. Mm-hmm. So the fact that you are is great. I know that everybody's very excited about it. I was thinking Andrew's got his deadhead tie-dye on, so I know he's got to be. But you were just there, though, right? You were just there for the concert, right? A few months ago in San Francisco? No, you weren't? Okay, I guess I misunderstood when we were talking about
Vegas, right?
Oh, you went to Vegas. See, I was talking about the concerts they were doing in San Fran, and then I guess you mentioned Vegas, and I just lumped those together. Okay, but so yeah, I mean, you got to be thrilled to go check out Haight Ashbury or whatever the hell you're going to end up doing. I know Garrett's going to find some fun out in San Francisco, and everybody else will as well. We'll see, but yeah, I'm glad that all got cleared up, because it was very much not cleared up as of like yesterday when we left
as
here.
of like 30 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Well, and I will say this while we're talking about it. We will not be doing a classical 3 to 6
No, now we
show.
are.
No. I really need you to stop doing that on the air. I really do.
What? Arguing?
Yes.
Don't you think it should change, Garrett, that we should?
I'm going to strangle you with your headphone cord.
I'll help you.
Yeah. So,
Here, Brandon.
But we are not doing that. We are going to just record the content, of which we will have a ton, and post it right up. And then Smokey and I, at the end of each day,
Not now. I'm not going to do anything with you.
I'm not even kidding. It's not funny.
It is.
We are going to. I'm trying to tell the audience what we're doing. We are going to do a 30-minute wrap-up show. So that's what we're going to do. So we'll have content all day, and then we'll do a 30-minute wrap-up show. It should allow us to get more content. It should allow us to do that. Hey, firefighter.
1C57. $100.
Oh, wow. Go Pokes indeed, man.
And Super Bowl beer money and gummies for Garrett. Go Pokes. Thank you very much. That's
Sounds
awesome,
like a new
man.
campaign,
I
Gummies
love
for
that
Garrett.
color. That's my favorite color. That
Hashtag
cherry red.
Gummies. But no, really, firefighter, that's an awesome gesture on your part. Thank you, Go Pokes. I know you must be, with the Go Pokes messaging, super excited about what's ongoing right now with the football program and other things as well going on with Oklahoma State. But every time I see an Oklahoma State fan now, I just get excited for them, because I know recently they've been successful, but the last couple of years have been a really rough ride from a football standpoint. So every time I see an Oklahoma State fan, I just want to give you a congratulations, because I know you're on the other side of this abyss that was briefly there. But still, I'm fired up for Eric Morris and Drew Mestemaker and all that. So I'm imagining you are as well. And yeah, thank you for the donation for these guys out in San Fran.
All right, so there we are. We got the email, and I did not expect it. After this morning, I made 2 phone calls. Paul's made calls. Zach's made calls. We worked the system, and we now will have dedicated space, whatever that might be. Doesn't matter. We're going to be there, and looking forward to it. Flying in on Sunday morning with Brandon, Garrett, Andrew, Paul, and me, and look forward to it. And speaking of which, thank you to House of Travel, Alan Samuels House of Travel. They have been phenomenal with Bambi SQ, Bill Denton, setting us up with the airline tickets and our travel cost and an Airbnb. about 10 to 12 miles south of the city of San Francisco.
By the way, Oklahoma State, came across a story, and I know this is random, but just tying this back in a little bit. I came across a story about I don't know if y'all seen their young wrestling phenom, Jax Forrest, but I'm not like super into college wrestling. I like pro wrestling, obviously. That ebbs and flows. But I've always like been kind of fascinated with college. It's hard to not like want to get completely enveloped in when I see like a fan base like Oklahoma State talking about it, or a meet and seeing like Jax Forrest's debut, and just how, like, what a scene. Like, you talk about sporting events you'd want to go to. I think I want to go to like a big time wrestling meet at like a real deal wrestling school. It just seems like
Iowa,
freaking like, or Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
It just seems like a damn party. So anyways, that's been on my mind lately because it is wrestling season, and I see a lot of that thanks to the Oklahoma State folks out there.
Firefighter is Barry Campbell. I used to be under Barry Campbell, but it's Barry.
Thank you,
Barry Crawford.
Barry Crawford, yes.
Send us the paddle.
Thank you very much. Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you, Firefighter, and we appreciate your time. Now, when we come back, Sam Kahn, theathletic.com, on a couple of stories he's been working on, and he'll join us by cell phone here in the next segment, and this is 365 Sports.
Hi, I'm Dana Hassel, President and CEO of American Bank. Waco is a great place for business, and for more than 70 years, American Bank has been the bank for business. We continue to invest in our growing community with state-of-the-art branches conveniently located to serve you within minutes. Our experienced bankers, lenders, and decision makers work directly with business owners like you every day, providing tailored solutions, timely answers, and local insights face-to-face. Schedule a meeting with one of our bankers today and find out what makes American Bank the bank for your business. Member FDIC.
When we moved to Texas, we were like fish out of water. We didn't know anyone in our neighborhood until our Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent came to the house. She was so helpful and reassuring, a friendly face with that Texan hospitality I'd heard about. When we purchased a Texas Farm Bureau insurance policy, we knew we were making the right choice. We knew our family would be protected.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Edward Jones Financial Advisors Ben Erlinson, Brad Wilson, and Cam Heathcott understand these are difficult and changing times we live in, but they know how important your financial investments are to you. So is your financial advisor staying in touch with you and helping you navigate today's financial climate? Invest with Edward Jones Financial Advisors Ben Erlinson, Brad Wilson, and Cam Heathcott, who invest their time and experience back to you and your money. And like coaching athletes, investing money is about time, patience, and encouragement. Contact Ben Erlinson at 254-759-8533. Brad Wilson's location at 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, and Cam Heathcott in Conroe. Edward Jones Financial Advisors, Ben Erlinson, Brad Wilson, and Cam Heathcott, proud sponsors of 365 Sports. Edward Jones, making sense of investing, member SIPC.
This is 365 Sports.
The 5 o'clock hour is sponsored by Edward Jones Investments with financial advisor Ben Erlinson, who'll navigate you through today's financial climate. Edward Jones, making sense of investing.
Sam
now
Kahn.
Here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
Sam Kahn on Fridays, and appreciate it because he's also trying to spend some quality time with his kids, and we might be a part of that kids at times. And he's working on a story, just sent this to me. Sam, LSU's NIL reporting becomes first public investigation by the CSC, College Sports Commission. What's going on, buddy? And thanks for your time.
No problem. Thanks for having me. Matt Baker and Ralph Russo, who Ralph covered a lot of the CSC stuff, and Matt is our public records expert. Matt and I had talked really the last couple of weeks about, hey, the CSC has said that they're going to start looking into what they believe are unreported NIL deals. As you guys know, when this thing was established by the Power Four conferences after the settlement, the idea was to bring some type of enforcement. And so Matt Baker kind of sent out some public records requests to some schools to see if we could find some evidence of that, because they said they were going to start doing that this month. And we don't know the details on, what is being investigated specifically or what the scope of it is. All that we know is that the CSC did send an email to LSU saying that they wanted to set up a phone call and to discuss potentially unreported NIL deals. Obviously, no comment really from the CSC or from LSU to this point, but it is the first little tidbit of evidence that the CSC is actually doing what it said it intended to do, which is to look into potential violations or potential unreported deals, third-party deals in NIL.
Sam, we don't also know what even though it's unreported, but we don't really know what the rules completely are or what the punishments are yet. It's not out there for us to publicly know. And I mean, again, no lawyer, but I think LSU could put up a pretty reasonable defense of like, oh, didn't know. Okay.
Well, and here's the other complicating factor is not all the schools have signed this agreement to abide by the rules. As you guys know, back in the fall, the CSC sent out this document asking schools to agree to cooperate with investigations, to abide by the enforcement decisions, and not file lawsuits to challenge the rules and rulings. And as you guys know, not everyone did that. And I don't believe that thing is binding until everyone does. And when Brian Seeley, the head of the CSC, was at the NCAA convention earlier this month, he made a plea to the schools in the Power Four conferences to please sign this deal. So all that to say, we don't really know if they find something, what are the consequences? We don't know because we're still building the plane as we fly it, so to speak. So it's all very interesting and different, but obviously we're starting to get at least a little bit of a peek of what's going on.
So last week, Dabo Swinney really created some waves with his rant and his expose, I guess, if you will, of some of the tampering going on. And it's just completely subsided and gone to the wayside, Sam. I mean, it was entertaining at minimum, and it was just refreshing to hear somebody name names because so many coaches say one thing but then are afraid to go all the way with it. But does it ultimately make any difference at all what Dabo said because of the way the system is?
I think it just depends on how quickly people move. And here's the other thing that makes this complicated. The CSC, I don't believe, is in charge of tampering. Right. That Greg Sankey said that, I believe, on the record, that the NCAA is supposed to govern tampering. I think it is our understanding that Clemson had communicated with NCAA and gave them, I guess, whatever evidence or whatever their accounts were of that. And I saw there was a report out. I think John Canzano had reported Fresno State claims to have some evidence of Ole Miss tampering with their players as well. So the question is how quickly does the NCAA move on it as to whether it matters? The other part of it is that tampering is not a level 1 violation; it's a level 2 violation. So it's not the most severe. We have seen, I believe, coaches miss a game for suspension for it, but it's not something that's going to take your whole season down, so to speak. So in that way, I don't know, like if Ole Miss is proven to have tampered and the NCAA has rock solid evidence of that, what will happen to them? My guess would be that the most that could happen is that Pete Goldie ends up missing a game. But it all depends again on how fast they move. And as we know, when it comes to investigation, the NCAA rarely moves quickly.
Well, and that's part of the CSC is they said they're going to move faster, but that's a relative term. They don't really have to move that much faster to say they're going to be more expedient.
Yeah, and the thing is too, they're still trying to hire staff over there. I mean, I think Amanda Kristovich reported earlier that they're trying to hire more people at the CSC. I mean, this started as a small operation in the summer with only a small handful of people. They've grown since then, and you just don't know again how fast will they move, and even if they're able to move pretty quickly, what are the consequences? We still don't know all that.
Do they need to do something like this, Sam, to show that it's not just a name and a threat and that there needs to be at least some consequences, whether it's Ole Miss or it's Troy?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a double-edged sword because on one hand, if this is the body you built to enforce rules, then it needs to show that it can enforce rules. On the other hand, it is going to require cooperation from the members and the members, as we know, historically don't want to cooperate with abiding by the rules. And this is the reason why we're in the position we're in now with, we've had, I think, was it Dan Radakovich the other day or somebody had mentioned maybe we should just get rid of the cap completely because it's hard enough to keep people in compliance with it. It's very difficult to have anything hard and fast and solid because of the way this is all structured, or I guess for lack of a better term, is the way it's unstructured. There is no real structure. But I do think that if schools and college coaches and leaders really do want things to operate in an orderly fashion, then you have to have an enforcement body, and that enforcement body has to have teeth, and people have to abide by it. What you can't do is have an enforcement body and then try to enforce something, and then you're going to run and file a lawsuit at the very moment that something happens to you, and which I feel like is what we're at a risk of until we get to a place where there's either an antitrust exemption or if all these schools agree to this setup and this document that the CSC sent back in the fall.
Sam, this is kind of out of left field based on all this, but I'm curious. We didn't talk about it, but Ohio State hired Arthur Smith, former Falcons head coach, a longtime NFL offensive coordinator, son of Fred Smith, the former CEO of FedEx, to be their offensive coordinator. This is the second NFL move that Ryan Day has made in as many years, with Matt Patricia being the defensive coordinator. He lost Brian Hartline to USF, who's one of the best recruiters in the entire country and the best recruiter of the state of Florida, and he's there now. Why do you think Ryan Day is going so much to the NFL, and do you think it's because they are shifting more of the recruiting into a front office?
No doubt. I think that's a big part of it. Gone are the days that your coordinators are going to be on the road full time. Whether it's the contact period right now that we're in January that's about to wrap up tomorrow, or it's spring evaluation period. This is the front offices are handling a lot of it, but the position coaches are still out. Like a lot of position coaches are still out on the road, but the coordinators themselves, especially if you are longer in the tooth, if you are a little bit older, it's a quality of life thing. It's a way to kind of sell the job to a candidate that you may attract. It's like, hey, you can come here, call the plays, run the offense, and you don't have to go out and recruit. And that's a plus if you're a coach, especially if you're a coach that's been in this for a long time. And if you're a former NFL guy, or even if you're a college guy and you've been doing this for 30, 40 years, and you're like, you know what, I'm in my late 60s and I don't want to be on the road recruiting 17-year-olds all the time. Like, I just want to call the plays. I've seen that trend a lot in the last year, really the last couple of years, where coaches more and more, especially at the Power 4 level, are starting to pull their coaches off the road and either let their younger position coaches go on the road, or in some cases, some schools are sending a scouting director or a general manager or a director of player personnel on the road as one of their 10 coaches that can be out there. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think being able to improve the quality of life for coaches is a good thing. And also it allows for some of the people in the front office who want to do this maybe at the NFL level someday. Maybe some of these guys want to be NFL GMs or NFL scouting directors, and getting that experience on the road is real life experience, because guess what? In the fall, NFL scouts are out at games. You guys see them in the press box, I'm sure, every Saturday. There's seats for scouts from NFL teams. That's what they're doing. And I think letting a director of player personnel or assistant director of player personnel or scouting director or GM go out on the road for a college team, I think makes all the sense in the world.
At McLean Stadium, the bottom row used to be filled with media. And you know that, Sam, and there's like 3 different levels of media. This year, it seemed like that first level was filled with pro scouts almost every game, even when the record wasn't very good. And that wasn't always the case. At basketball games, man, the pro scouts can come swarming because of the one and dones, and there's no room, but not so much at the new arena. So I just got this note. The NFL salary cap is now over $300 million. It's in the neighborhood of like $307 million, which means every SEC team and about 5 or 8 others around the country will have to cut players to reach that $300 million salary cap.
Yeah. I don't know that we'll ever get. I will tell you this. Tell me when we get the 9-figure payrolls. I don't think I don't think we'll ever get to that. I think there's a natural thing to this, and I will say this on the cap. When we talk about teams going over the cap, it's a really small handful of schools. There are not very many schools that can afford to go over the cap unless you have a benefactor or an MMR sponsor that can help fund that. That's one of the challenges. That's what I'm fascinated to see in the coming years, really in the next 2 to 3 years, is if we don't have a hard cap, how many schools and how high can they go? I don't know that we will ever see payrolls go to 50 and 60 million. I mean, I could be wrong. I could be absolutely 100% wrong on that. But I do think eventually we'll find this level. I felt like right before we got to revenue sharing, some of the NIL stuff started to find this level. You started to see the market stabilize a little bit. And then we got all this injection of revenue sharing money that everybody had, and everybody was front loading deals and double dipping and everything. I think it's going to be a little crazy for a little while, but I think in a couple, 3 years, we might see things settle down a little bit, and people will find their place and players will find their slots, and some of this stuff will temper down a little bit just naturally on its own, because I think people will start to figure out where the value really is on the roster, where to put it. You're going to see it adjusted in high school recruiting too. You just saw Ohio State and Texas let a lot of quality young players that they recruited walk, because they're going to go spend more money on impact players in the portal that can impact them on the field. And I just listed 2 teams that are at the highest level in terms of spending. The Ohio State and Texas are rethinking, where are we investing our money? Because the question is, are we putting too much money into players who are not on the field? Meaning that if we're spending $5 or $7 million on a recruiting class, and most of those guys aren't going to develop until year 2, and then they may transfer before year 2, then maybe we should rethink how we're doing that. So all that to say that I do think at some point the spending for player payrolls in college will find its levels at some point, and only a small handful, just like it was in the old days with facilities and all the other spending things. The handful of schools will be able to compete at the highest level, and then everybody else will kind of fall in line after that.
I don't want to say that it will never happen, but you would think that eventually 20, 25 or so million for college football programs, and that doesn't include the other ones, that there's eventually the well will run dry, or even the richest of donors, unless they get a good high from it, will get a little bit frustrated. The first ever year, Craig, Paul, Sam, first year of NFL salary cap was 1994. I just said that it's $307 million now. Do you remember the first year figure for a team's salary cap number?
Was it 50?
You're a little high.
40.
I would have guessed 30.
Okay. 34.6 million. 34.6 in 10. Now it's 10 times higher in 30 years. That's a little bit of a jump.
Individuals are making that in 1 year now.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. The quarterbacks are making 50 and 60 or so, not to mention a few others. Sam, we appreciate it. So when you are home with the kids, what is the biggest, what's the one thing that makes you most nervous that you have to do, and what's it like just to spend time with your kids?
The thing that's most nerve-wracking is being already fed at the end of the day, like making sure that everybody is fed and everybody has cleaned and done their chores. The thing that I enjoy the most is just doing anything that they enjoy, whether it's going to the park or, my oldest, who's 10, he likes to play soccer and football. So he wants to go out in the backyard and do that. I enjoy doing that. I let my little 5-year-old letting him run around at the park and do whatever he wants to do. But outside time is my favorite with them. But the biggest stressor is just getting them fed and making sure they've done every chore that they're supposed to do.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. Have a great weekend, Sam. Thanks for your time.
Thanks.
Sam, con time. Appreciate him with us on 365 Sports. We have the 5 o'clock hour.
And we got an interesting story.
Okay. You want to do it in the
tease it right now. So it took 2 weeks for a player who has played games in the NBA to hire an attorney. And try to get back into college for one more year.
Let's see what that is, who that is.
Scott Drew.
Oh, Craig. And
no, you know what? I love Scott Drew. He is one of the most kind people you will ever meet. But this was the nightmare scenario, was that you cracked open a door, and then inevitably there were going to be others that just went, oh, that door's open now? boom. And now all of the sleazy lawyers and everybody imaginable is going to be in a race to try and figure out if they can get eligibility, even though they've already played pro basketball or been drafted or whatever the hell. This absolutely sucks, guys. And I don't think there's any way other to spin it if this goes down this path. So they are in desperate need of someone that can still maintain college basketball for what it is, because if they don't, then it's very quickly going to become, well, it's already semi-pro to some degree, but it's going to basically be the semi-pro, because you're going to have like the Grand Rapids Generals players playing for Duke basketball.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, 2 years after they've been playing pro. I mean, this is gross. I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
Well,
and the fact that it was done for a guy who's not going to make a single difference in your record.
And, Scott Drew had said that. Everyone immediately jumped, and he had said this is going to be it's not like Bediako, who came in and scored 13 points in his first game, that this was going to be mainly just to help grab a rebound or four and maybe block a shot or once.
Going to have
twice.
A bunch of Van Wilders.
So let's come back with the actual details that Paul was talking about and more. And then at the bottom of the hour, of course, we have Paul's Top 5 quizzes and the poll results and 365 Sports Overtime with you and me at around 5:30 or so. This is 365 Sports.
So many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
Have you heard of the new IRA? The new IRA, Insured Retirement Advantage, is a solution for high-income individuals and business owners who want to grow and protect their wealth without locking up capital or taking unnecessary risks. If you're an asset manager or a licensed insurance agent looking to provide your clients with guaranteed tax-free retirement income and legacy protection, the new IRA Insured Retirement Advantage is an option you need to know more about and is only available exclusively from North Star Funding Partners. For more information, go to northstarfundingpartners.com and tell them 365 Sports sent you.
Edward Jones Financial Advisors Ben Erlinson, Brad Wilson, and Cam Heathcott understand these are difficult and changing times we live in, but they know how important your financial investments are to you. So is your financial advisor staying in touch with you and helping you navigate today's financial climate? Invest with Edward Jones Financial Advisors Ben Erlinson, Brad Wilson, and Cam Heathcott, who invest their time and experience back to you and your money. And like coaching athletes, investing money is about time, patience, and encouragement. Contact Ben Erlinson at 254-759-8533. Brad Wilson's location at 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, and Cam Heathcott in Conroe. Edward Jones Financial Advisors, Ben Erlinson, Brad Wilson, and Cam Heathcott, proud sponsors of 365 Sports. Edward Jones, making sense of investing, member SIPC.
Cars priced right, day and night. Average your car in Texas. Trucks built for you, red, white, and blue. Average your car in Texas. Cars that zoom with lots of room. Average your car in Texas. Count on us, a dealer to trust. Average your car in Waco, Texas.
This is 365 Sports.
The 5 o'clock hour is brought to you by Edward Jones and financial advisor Cam Heathcott. Edward Jones, making sense of investing.
Now here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
All right, Paul, the latest lawsuit with an NBA guy who's played, not signed a deal, not just turned pro, but played and maybe wants to get back in college.
Yes, Amari Bailey used to play for UCLA, really good player at UCLA. He's played 10 games in the NBA, just 10. Would like to return to college. He has hired an agent and a lawyer. That lawyer helped former North Carolina wide receiver Tez Walker restore his eligibility, and that was a monumental decision on Tez Walker. And so Bailey's reasoning, and while you can empathize with him, I guess, a little bit. Right now, I'd be a senior in college. I'm not trying to be 27 years old playing college athletics. No shade to the guys that do. That's their journey. But I want to go play professionally. I went to go play professionally, and I learned a lot, went through a lot. So, why not me? I don't really empathize with him anymore after reading that.
I was like, what am I empathizing with? Your dumb decision?
So he just wants to go back and play in college. But this is a ridiculous slippery slope. He's played 10 games in the NBA, and he said he made some mistakes as an 18-year-old freshman and left UCLA with a lot left to prove on the table. But he's been gone for 3 years, just like Bediako has.
Buddy, here's the thing. Yeah, he played 10 games for the Charlotte Hornets. He played those games 2 years ago.
Yeah.
They were in the 23-24 season, so he didn't play any pro games last year. He's played no pro games this year, right? Because this year's 25-26. So his 10 games were 2 years ago with the Charlotte Hornets. So you're not removed. Buddy, you're applying for Medicaid soon. I mean, more so than you are a college student. Yeah, I don't know about that one. And the reasoning you just laid out of I'm not trying to be like these 27-year-old guys. You're not trying to be these guys either, because you are already 22. He'll turn, it looks like 22 here in about 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. Amari Bailey will be 22 years old. So he's not super old. He's not Chris Wenke coming back after a pro baseball career. But see, that's where it gets tricky, because that's all you got to say if you're Amari Bailey. It's Chris Wenke went and played pro. Drew Henson. Yeah. All those guys that went and did the minor league baseball thing. Ricky Williams, he was doing both of them. He was playing Russell Wilson, playing summer ball and playing college ball during the regular part of the year. So what's the argument against that?
The only argument the NCAA uses is a different sport.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a different sport. It wasn't.
Well, that makes sense then, yeah. If you were doing minor league hockey, but you were playing college football, I could see where that's a big difference. Yeah, I mean, I think he probably wants to go back to college because he doesn't have an NBA career.
Well, he barely he hung on to the G League a little bit. He's done that, but
like I told you, his 10 games that people are going to cite that you're going to hear moving forward, these 10 NBA games that he did play in, was in the 23-24 season, and that's all he has listed is those 10 games in the 23-24 season. He averaged 2.3 points. 0.9 rebounds, 0.7 assists, and shot 33% in those 10 appearances. So to me, it sounds like a guy who's probably at the head of a line of a bunch of guys who realize, oh, crap, I'm done making money in the pros. I know where the money is. It's back in college. Let me throw a flyer out there, especially with how nonsensical it all is, and see if I can go make some real money.
And clearly he doesn't have overseas opportunities because he could go do that.
I would think he probably should, but I guess maybe not.
He probably will if this gets rejected.
Yeah. Well, here's the other thing, too. You know when he was drafted? He was a 41st pick overall, so he's a second-round player. So I would imagine there's still got to be somewhere in Turkey or Yugoslavia or something, or not Yugoslavia. That's not still there. But you know what I'm saying.
If he goes to Yugoslavia, he's going to find nothing.
Well, he's going to find a couple different countries. Yeah. But this is nonsense. This is total nonsense.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And,
what does Darren Heitner think?
Well, and he's not the lawyer.
I bet he sides with Amari Bailey. I'm just going to take a wild guess here, but
James Najee, and it's different levels of professional regret. James Najee never signed the contract, so at least he had that. But even still, I probably should have done it this way, but things were different. And then Charles Bediako realizes, hey, I shouldn't have left. Amari Bailey, I shouldn't have left. I need this. My opportunities are drying up. I'm not making that much, but I could go back and make some money. And there will be a coach there that rationalizes away the 10 games. And I'm sure he said, and I'm sure that coach is going to be a guy who's like, I don't know what this is doing. This is killing high school recruiting. But he's going to take him. And if he's eligible, that's what's going to happen. But this is ridiculous. eligibility should not be about regret. It should be about what's right.
And I also don't like hearing it's the fair. It's like, no, dude, you made your bed. Now you have to. It's called consequences.
Yes.
You made the wrong choice.
Whoa, be careful.
You made the wrong choice. It sucks that you made the wrong choice. It sucks that you weren't born 10 years earlier or whatever, but that's just life. And I feel like we haven't had anybody just walk into a room lately and say, that's just life. It doesn't end with everybody getting everything they want all the time. So, yeah, you were born too late to take advantage of this. Sorry. Like, I'm sure there's probably some 70-year-olds that wish that they could have had streaming as an option for a career when they were 20 years old and, the money there. Like, you know what I'm saying? But it wasn't that way. So I don't think you can just say, well, feel sorry for us and let's just sue to get back in. Like, I know I'm probably not creating the best argument right now, but my mind's just kind of all over the place because this is just absurd.
But this is not about he had a weird injury situation or
he's not good enough to be in the NBA anymore.
Exactly.
Wasn't that the same reason?
That's Bediako.
No, Baylor.
Yes, it's all
3 years in the G League. He's not going anywhere. Let's go back to
the
college.
guy's name that we can't even remember, Najee, excuse me.
Najee.
Well, boy, that was really worth it. We can't even remember his damn name.
So these three guys, it's increasing levels of regret. James Najee kind of knew right away that, he never signed the contract. He never did all those things. And he just played overseas, which now the guys who play overseas, and the overseas thing is confusing because they have a completely different system. They don't have college athletics like we have college athletics. You play for a club. And essentially, I'll just use the example of Ricky Rubio. When Ricky Rubio was 14 years old, he was playing for a professional club in Spain. And so, but is that professional club in Spain the same as, say, Kentucky? Probably in the skill set overall, but there are 30-year-old guys that play for them too. So that's where a gray area that deserves discussion. This doesn't deserve discussion.
No,
this is not. This is not okay. Well, if we're going to take a 19-year-old from France that played on his club team, okay, that's a gray area there. Let's figure out what the gray is and what it really is, and establish those things as opposed to. Man.
It's also much different in Europe. When you start trying to compare soccer, it's not the same thing. Yeah. Those guys are basically born and bred, put into academies, like aligned with teams early on. They move up through systems. It's not like you go to Duke or to North Carolina and then you go to school there. It's like totally different. Mm-hmm. They treat it completely different. It's similar in some ways because the ages are similar, but like the whole process is a lot different than it's not apples to apples. It's apples to oranges as much as anything. So
Manchester
the European
United
thing
has a 16U team.
Yeah, like there's a 16 and under team.
Kids that are.
I got a relative of my brother-in-law's. God, what would she be? My brother-in-law's cousin's wife, whatever that is. They have a son who is in like the FC Dallas system, and he's like a teenager, and he's getting looks from like clubs and having all these conversations about where to go next. But he's like on like the 14 under FC Dallas team, and that's how he's going through it.
And they know he's around. They know he's targeted as a future prospect, right?
We'll see how all that goes. But soccer kind of operates a little bit differently overseas.
Basketball operates like soccer overseas.
Yeah, like Luka Doncic was like a Real Madrid guy or whatever. Like I just the European thing at least gives you pause and you go, well, but you start to break it down, and it's really not the same exact thing at all. So it's not a complete comparison that you can make and just go, well, what about them? Because it's not exactly the same thing. But even forget the European side of this. Just this whole idea of the fact that you went and you played in the NBA and you're not going to come back because you made a stupid decision and you're not good enough to hang around in the NBA. Granted, you're a better athlete than I've ever been or ever will be. So kudos to you for all that. But this is preposterous that you're going to try to come back to college now. And if the NCAA cannot enforce this rule, if they cannot prevent a guy from playing pro sports and coming back, the floodgates are completely open, and this sport is absolutely effed. Like, it's totally done.
It is anyway. Whether he wins it or I don't know if it's a stupid decision, but it was a decision that he regrets, and there are no consequences anymore with a lot of decisions that people make.
Yeah, okay. I guess I would have to see his bank account to see how stupid the decision was.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But it's obviously a decision that in less than 3 years' time, he's going, can I come back to college basketball, please? Because I haven't played an NBA game in nearly 2 years, and clearly there's no future there that's worth holding on to because you'd still fight for that. You're trying to go backwards because the money's so good because of the environment that's now been created. So if that's what's going to be allowed, then yeah, college basketball is something. It needs to be renamed because that's not college basketball.
Now, in the last 2 games he played in were the most minutes he played because they were the last 2 games of the regular season.
Played in. That's the first thing.
He played 22 minutes and 12 minutes. Usually he averaged about 7 minutes a night throughout the season. And that is pumped up by those last 2 games. Mostly he played 2, 3, 4 minutes. So the third to last game he played in was a 115-97 loss. Do you know the leading scorer of the team that they lost to was in that game?
40.
No, who it actually was? It was Steph freaking Curry. So this guy is playing a game with the greatest shooter of all time, and now he wants to come back? No. Once you cross the threshold, you shouldn't be able to come back in because threshold? You found out that, shit, Steph Curry's good.
Yeah.
I'm not,
Yeah. What's the threshold?
The threshold is what needs to be clearly defined, but it should be that if you play an NBA game, if you play in a professional game, I don't think you should be allowed to come back.
The threshold used to be if you entered the draft, and then they changed it a little bit where you could pull your name out. There's a little timeline there. But if you sign with an agent, we now know that doesn't matter because everybody is. If you entered whatever professional sport it was, if you entered it, and that was it.
Well, that is the
and
key
now
word there.
It's not, yeah.
And it's not that. So I know there's lawsuits either way, but can the NCAA not go, hey, NBA, hey, NFL, can y'all make an effing rule where these guys can't come to your league and then or can you help us out with some wording of how this works?
We don't want anything to do with it. We'll lose our lawsuit.
Well, then watch your minor league system burn down in front of your eyes because they get a free minor league system thanks to the NCAA.
And now they're backing off the G League more than they had invested in
because
the G
it's not at all what they thought it was going to be or hoped it would be.
They still have it, and it's still a tool for them, but it's not. They tried to push it to maybe make a dent in college basketball, and they are making a dent in college basketball, and not in a good way.
No, they're making a bumped into your passenger door and left a big dent. That's the kind of dent that they're making, an annoying-ass dent that you now have to go and fix. That's what is being created. So, I wonder if somehow the pro leagues – talk about lobbying Congress and all these things they're trying to do. Maybe they need to go lobby the pro sports leagues and say, hey, can we come to some, I don't know if that's even possible or legal. But there's got to be a way to have rules that people just have to follow because they're the only organization I've ever seen where every single rule they try to have is nope, that's not legal. Nope, that's not legal. So they can't have a hard and fast, you leave for the pros, that's it. They can get sued so they can't do anything, now, basically.
Here's what used to be the NCAA amateur status. Receiving pay, salary, or prize money beyond actual necessary expenses. That's what Najee was able to use because he never received salary other than cost of living or any kind of normal expenses. Signing with an agent, forget that. Agreeing to play professionally, forget that. Accepting extra benefits, forget that. Endorsing products, NIL, and competing on professional teams. Wipe it all out. That was what used to be the definition of losing your amateur status.
Competing on professional teams and deciding. I do think that if you get drafted and would like to come back and you haven't played yet within that season, You maybe if you're a second round pick and you decide you're not ready, like Amari Bailey was, he should maybe be able to come back. But even still, you're kind of screwing the NBA team who drafted you.
What if he plays?
But if he signs a contract, which he did, if you sign a contract with an NBA team, I'm sorry, it's over.
Not a G League team?
No,
well, that's what I've already seen one person go, it's not a real contract, it's a two-way contract that he signed. So there's always so anyways.
With two-way contracts, you're going to play in the league.
If one of those ways is playing in March against Steph Curry, then I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm past the point of really wanting to sit here and have the the hammer swinging the other way, because it was swinging to the left in favor of all the olds at the universities, the presidents, the athletic directors, and all them. It was all them. They were the greediest of the greedy. They didn't want it to ever change, and only until they were forced to. And this entire time, they never planned. No matter how many times you had tsunami warnings. The tsunami has never hit for years and years. So they're like, oh, I guess we don't really need to worry about that. And finally, the big wave came, and they were totally unprepared for it. And even if they, even though they knew it was coming, they still didn't care, because I think they just had in their heads of this will be maintained somehow. And then it just came crashing down, and there's been just nothing of any type of real response that we've seen to try to really corral this in any way. And I think there's been attempts to, but every single one of them gets shot down at some point or another in court, or there's just a new issue to have to deal with. And yeah, it's years and years of reckoning, all just coming to a head.
Yes.
And it's going to take years to unwrap it all and to get it back to a place where it looks like something else that's actually manageable and workable. But this isn't manageable and workable when you have guys now that want to go play pro and come back to college and just act like they never left to begin with. I think that's insane. And even the people who are pro player freedom, I think you've gotten more than your cake. You've gotten multiple cherries on top, and
maybe
a lot of it's deserved.
Maybe you're hungry. You could continue.
You're greedy.
As long as an attorney can try to get
attorneys. Yes, there are attorneys out there that see the blood in the water, and it's endless. I mean, the sea is completely red.
Yeah.
So, there's going to be more and more and more lawsuits, and I don't know how they eventually stem it off, but I really hope that they find a way to shut this down pretty quickly, because this opens up a whole Pandora's box that I don't think is good for anybody involved in the sport.
That's the thing about unchecked greed. Unchecked greed for years and years is what the NCAA had. It was unchecked. They were greedy. Nobody checked them. They're just able to sit back and collect checks. Nobody checked it. This is true historically throughout all of mankind. You can live so high on the hog, but it is so temporary, because once the people...
It's been 100 years.
Well, but it's temporary. Once it's over, it doesn't go out with a whimper. It goes out with a big, huge bang, because the people that you've been stealing from eventually say, oh, there's way more of us than there are of you.
And once that dam breaks,
and they storm the gates.
Yep.
And that is what is happening. And it all could have been prevented if they had just said, hey, maybe we should cut him in for $30,000 a year.
Yeah, think about that.
Oh, that's the thing, is you could have cut this off and made it so much easier on everybody, but you
right now,
refused
college
to.
athletes would probably be making, if they had done it in around Chris Webber, when he was the one who kind of maybe got the most steam to it around the Fab Five, they'd be making $65,000 a year a piece by now.
Well,
adjusted for inflation,
it might have jumped because somebody would eventually. But we're getting 50. We need 100. Yeah,
but at least salary.
Yeah, great discussion, Paul. Glad you brought that up before the break. Somebody in the chat said tampering is now just another word called recruiting.
Basically, yeah. I mean, you're absolutely right, whoever said that. I mean, based on the fact that Dabo had that big moment, and again, it was just refreshing, whether it led to anything or not. It's just refreshing to hear somebody say, here are the receipts. Boom, 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 boom. Instead of, well, if I had a moment to tell that guy, I'd tell him, or Coach, who you talk about? Well, I don't want to say, because I might have to work at Michigan or Oklahoma or Oklahoma State in the future. I kind of got tired of that. We like Jeff Traylor, but it's like when you're barking a lot, but you're not actually biting, it kind of loses its luster. That was what was refreshing about Dabo, was he's like, screw it, I'm just going to say it. But ultimately, what came of it? A bunch of people going, all right, whatever. So anyways, back to trying to get that guy from Clemson. It's basically just another word for recruiting. Yep, the way it's not going to be punished, it looks like. Why wouldn't it just open the door to more people going, well, we're all doing it. Let's all continue to do it. I don't think there's any fear of any reprisal or any punishment for it. So until there is, and everybody's going to keep doing it.
Make him give back every penny he made during the time he was a part of the NBA, and then sit out for 6 months. The players on the PGA Tour who decided to go to live, they're coming back, but guess what they're having to do? Give up a whole bunch of money, millions. And still have to serve a little time on before they're able to play in tournaments, majors, etc. So Appreciate all of you for being a part of that. My screen just froze, so I'm not sure if that's with everybody else or not. When we come back, we'll have Paul's top 5. We'll have the quizzes and poll results and more. Brandon Rowe, Garrett Ross, and Andrew Valade, and Logan Begesi. Thank you for your time. This is 365 Sports.
Big during the Start Something New sales event at Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Waco. Drive a new Ram 1500 Lone Star Crew Cab with $13,000 off or choose 0% financing. Get a new Laramie Crew Cab 4-wheel drive with 3.9% financing for 72 months plus $15,000 off MSRP. Explore in a new Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo starting at $31,990. Happening now at Allen Samuels.
Come by. Let's be friends.
This is Paul Catalina's Top 5.
Welcome into the Top 5, brought to you by Flag and Anthem. Go to flagandanthem.com, use our promo code 365sports. Now, next week's going to be a little bit different for us at the Super Bowl. Like we told you earlier, or at least I hope we have, but I'm telling you now, we're going to just load you up with content. We're not going to have a traditional live show. We're going to have some live segments, but maybe not a live show between 3 and 5:30-ish as we do every day. We're just going to load it up on content. You're going to see tons of interviews and all that. So top 5s might be sporadic, if maybe not just put on hold for a week. That's a command decision we'll make in the Bay Area. But top 5 best storylines of the Super Bowl. I thought I would send you off with this one in case you don't see a top 5 again until Super Bowl Monday. So, number 5, Mike Vrabel coaching the team he played for. He has a chance to get a 4th ring with the Patriots. The first 3 he did as a linebacker and a sometimes tight end who had 12 receptions for 12 touchdowns in his career, which is one hell of a stat to have for Mike Vrabel. I am a big Mike Vrabel guy. I think he was one of the best coaches in the league when he was in Tennessee. And it's amazing what happens when you give a great coach better than a good quarterback. I don't want to throw great on Drake May's name yet, but he had a great season and he's really talented and he's not even at his ceiling. Ryan Tannehill was good. He was fine. He got him to the playoffs, but he was at his ceiling. Drake May's not even there yet. And here they are in the Super Bowl. We'll talk about him more in just a second. Number 4, Mike Macdonald's rapid rise to the top. He has had a plan from the jump at Seattle. He said 2 years ago when he got the job, we're going to be in the NFC Championship game, and this is what it's going to be, and this is how we're going to attack it. And he made that a reality really fast. Got his quarterback this year in Sam Darnold. That defense, which is what his expertise is lethal. The defensive ends, Tank Lawrence, former Cowboy, has been fantastic for them. His career is reignited. All of those things have happened. And because Mike Macdonald had a vision and John Schneider, the GM of the Seahawks, one of the best to ever do it, back in the game again. But he saw in this guy, the guy who get him back to the Super Bowl, loved that about him. Number 3, Drake May's MVP caliber season. Look, 2nd year in the league, he was fantastic all year. Don't take the snow game in and be like, oh, he stinks. Like, you couldn't even walk in that snow, and they were playing football in it. It was ridiculous how good he was this year. And, really, they've got some really good players, but who's his alpha dog wide receiver? He's making receivers better. Like Kayshon Boutte had a good year. Stephon Diggs is kind of back into the rotation of being a good receiver. All across the board, they had good guys. Pop Douglas, really good player. Hunter Henry, really reliable tight end. Fantastic, plus the great running backs that they have there. Drake May, great story. Number 2, and an even better story, Sam Darnold's roller coaster career. To me, this is what the Super Bowl is all about. This is what sports are all about. This is a guy who was picked 3rd in the draft with the Jets. It just never worked out for him, and then it kicked off his journey where he went to the Panthers and the 49ers and then the Vikings. He had a great year last year. They had to make a call because they drafted J.J. McCarthy. They decided to let Sam Darnold move on. He found a perfect fit in Seattle, and while he's not perfect, he's just barely 2-to-1 touchdowns to interceptions. He can throw the ball through a brick wall. He's He's endured. He's gotten better. Jackson Smith and Jigba makes you better. He is great. Cooper Kupp is there. They have so many good things going for them, but it starts with Sam Darnold and the way he's able to lead that offense there in Seattle. And the number one best thing about this Super Bowl is the no Chiefs. I'm not knocking the Chiefs. I'm not knocking Patrick Mahomes. I'm not knocking Andy Reid. I'm not knocking Travis Kelce. I'm not knocking Taylor Swift. Garrett knows me very well. Would I ever knock Taylor Swift? Never. Never. I'm a Swiftie. I'm part of the, I'm not, that's the high, that's Beyonce. I'm a Swiftie, okay? But it's going to be nice to get some new blood in here. This is really maybe not so much about the Chiefs and just about having the same team in it for so long. It's nice to, clear the system a little bit, unclog, and go. Taylor Swift's not going anywhere, people. She's the most famous human being on earth. So it's fine. And again, don't come for me, Swifties, because I'm one of you. I'm not a Chiefs fan, but I'm a Swiftie. And I don't care if you're watching this and say, there's no way that guy's a Swiftie. Or, Paul, you're a 45-year-old man. Being a Swiftie is lame. You know what? You're lame. That's what I say. Anyhow, but it's good. No Chiefs. It's good. We needed a break. We just needed a break. You cannot eat steak every night. You're going to get clogged up. Some nights it's nice to have a nice piece of salmon or some pasta or a bowl of cereal, whatever it is. Anyway, we'll see the Super Bowl, the Carnival, the last one of those for a week starts now.
We will have 365 Sports Overtime here in just a moment, but let's get to the quizzes. Andrew Valade and the quizzes.
I am nervous because they were all laughing about something over there, and I don't know if this has to do with us. So let's get the first quiz, the first trivia question. The Lombardi Trophy is the NFL's ultimate prize, but it wasn't always called that, and it wasn't made by a sports company. Which famous luxury brand created this iconic silver masterpiece? I think it's Tiffany.
Yeah. The bottom three, to me, would not make, although Rolex with what they do with watches, it has to be Tiffany.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to take a guess, which I do here, I would say Tiffany and Company. I hadn't really ever thought about this, actually, so I'm interested to see what the answer is.
You guys ever been in a Louis Vuitton or Gucci store?
Yeah, you'll find a mall or two where they have.
You know what? I don't think I ever actually have been in one of those stores. I've driven past them, walked past them. I don't think I've ever actually gone in.
Do you have to pay or show your credit card balance to walk into a Louis Vuitton store?
It feels like you should. I've been in both many times now since I've been married because my wife loves that stuff. Oh. And the whole time I feel like an 8-year-old in a China show. Like don't touch anything, don't look at anything. And don't just sit here, politely nod and say thank you. But I'll go Tiffany and Company.
Don't touch anything?
I don't touch a thing.
There it is. Yes. Yeah, that makes sense. Good job.
1966, Oscar Riedner sketched the design on a napkin during a meeting with NFL Commissioner Pete Rozelle. Handcrafted in sterling silver in Rhode Island. Each 22-inch Lombardi trophy takes 4 months to make. Features a regulation-size football and is engraved with the winning team's name and Super Bowl date, valued at over $50,000. The winning team keeps the original.
I think it's a beautiful trophy. It's way better than that lipstick tube that is the college football playoff trophy that sucks, especially compared to the old crystal football.
Oh, the crystal ball was amazing.
We went from like the Matt Flynn kissing the crystal football to this gold obnoxious. I hate the CFP trophy.
It's a bowling trophy.
I hate the CFP trophy.
It's a bowling trophy.
If I was commissioner, everybody's doing that. If I was commissioner, that's one of the first things I'd do. I would change the trophy to something better than what it is. But this is a great trophy. I just love how sleek and simple it is, and it just looks cool.
Well, and if you're Alabama and you've won both and you have them in the same trophy case, the new one next to the old one looks really bad.
Yeah, like the football was on like this giant pedestal to hold it. But the crystal football itself just made for such a cool look, and you don't get that same thing with the lipstick tube, but the Lombardi trophy is fantastic. It's
I'm not sure when you come back over to me if you can see. There we go. That's my screensaver. I look at the crystal football every day with Bobby Bowden And
why not just affix that on top of something simple like the Lombardi?
Yeah.
Like that. I mean,
You ever
maybe you don't want it
seen-
to be too close to the Lombardi, but I mean, it's the Crystal Football, and I get it's a different organization that awards that, so that's why they can't do that. But
Have you ever seen up close the Crystal Football?
yeah.
Yeah.
It was like
Just-
media days every year. They
Yeah,
just have
it
that
is.
out.
It is phenomenal.
Hey, look, I used to walk past this one every time I went to register for classes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean,
I
it
just-
it is heavy. I mean, you got to be careful when you pick it up. All right,
I would
how
stop
much?
and-
You kiss it.
You couldn't. It was behind glass.
How
but I would
much
stop.
did a ticket to Super Bowl I cost in 1967? It was the Packers and I think the Chiefs.
I'm going to say $12.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's $1 or $12. $1 seems like too low.
Yeah.
So I'll go 12.
I'm gonna
12
say-
also seems 12 and 67. I think that's probably. I don't know though.
It's still
man.
a corporate event now. I'm going to say.
It's Super
I would
Bowl
say.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's 12 or 7.
How
gonna
much
say
were
12.
gummies back then, Garrett, compared to now? About okay, you're going to say what, Craig?
I'm saying 12.
I'll say 12.
I think 12 is just trying to hook us in. I would say 70, but I'll agree with you guys if you want.
I'm going to say 12. Boom!
Hey, there you go. And it's in green and dollars.
I'm glad that I convinced Paul to go with 12.
I have a story about my dad and a Super Bowl ticket after we read this. Featured the Packers and Chiefs at the LA Memorial Coliseum. Tickets were just $12, and it's still the only Super Bowl that didn't sell out. CBS and NBC both aired it.
Imagine that.
But the tapes were erased, forcing NFL Films to reconstruct the game from a partial recording found in an attic in 2005. The teams even used different sized balls, and the hungover Max McGee scored the first Super Bowl touchdown. He was vomiting on the sideline during the game. The halftime show had bands, 10,000 balloons, pigeons, and jetpack pilots. That $12 ticket is about $110 today compared to 6 to 8K in 2026. So my dad had tickets to Super Bowl III. He went to Super Bowl III. That was at Rice Stadium in Houston. And he was driving home one day and was pulled over, which happened quite a bit with him. He was pulled over for speeding. He took his wallet out. The tickets were in it. He had his driver's license, showed it to him, got back in the car, drove off. My mom was getting ready to go to the game, or maybe Super Bowl V, whatever it was, but whatever the one was at Rice Stadium in Houston. And she says, there's only one ticket in your wallet. He's like, no, I had the other one. He realized where he was, where he got pulled over. It was about 15 miles from the house. He drove back. They were living in the Rio Grande Valley, by the way. Drove back. It had blown up onto a fence and stuck there. And he found his Super Bowl ticket.
That's crazy.
Yeah, you
That's
ever been to by a chain link fence after a big event, concert, football game, and there's just trash everywhere stuck to a chain link fence. The wind, yeah, good. That's thank God.
Yeah, I have seen that. Yes. Yeah, we all have.
It's like a catches it. That's like your front teeth with the wind.
Here's the other thing. He also had to admit to my mom that he got a speeding ticket. Like his
a good day.
If anyone could talk out of it, it would be him. Though.
He was.
Who wins Super Bowl 60? Wow,
81%.
Well, y'all have all week to talk about this, and I'm sure we'll get into the dirty details of it all. But yeah, I would go Seahawks right now. They just seem like a great all-around complete team, and cool to see Sam Darnold having this success. But yeah, I think the Patriots are great in their own right. This ought to be a hell of a game, but the Seahawks just seem like they're kind of on another level rolling into this one. So I would go with them if I had to make a pick here.
Yeah, Seattle would be my pick. They're just so explosive right now. I know England and Vrabel will be set.
Love Jackson Smith and Jigba. I love him as a player, and I just think he looks cool. Like he's just so smooth, and he's just I've followed him since he was in Texas playing high school ball, and then Ohio State, obviously. But it's awesome to see him having this massive breakout type of a year, and he's just such a stud, man. But yeah, there's a lot of studs in this game, so it's going to be fun.
All right.
Which Gatorade flavor is your goat?
Yeah.
Lemon lime.
Got to be the original, right?
Yeah, that's fine. Lemon lime.
I love fruit punch anything, but it would still be Lemon Lime when it comes to a bottle of Gatorade.
Is yours up here, Craig?
Yeah. I mean, what was yours?
Lemon lime.
Lemon lime.
Both of y'all.
The
lemon
original,
lime?
yeah.
I think I might go Glacier Freeze actually as my top
good.
one. I think I'd go with that as the top one, and then I'd go Lemon Lime 2, Cool Blue 3, and then Fruit Punch. Fruit Punch, I'm very hit or miss with.
Yeah.
It kind of depends on what exactly the product is that's Fruit Punch.
I'm a Hawaiian Punch guy.
I like Hawaiian Punch, but I don't like every candy that's Fruit Punch
Yeah,
or
exactly.
every drink that's Fruit.
No,
I really don't like Gatorade Fruit
I-
Punch that much.
I do Amino Energy and I do Fruit Punch. It's my favorite.
The one that's not on the list because it's not a regular flavor anymore, but it was Michael Jordan's flavor, the citrus cooler. I was a big fan of that one.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, that was the Be Like Mike flavor.
Yeah, I remember that one. But yeah, give me the blue, and then lemon lime's always a good one as well.
All right, there we go. All of the quizzes and the polls. We appreciate you doing that, Andrew. Logan Bagesi, appreciate you. We're not done. A lot of everybody in the studio is done. We will, the next time we see you, will be from Radio Row in San Francisco at the Moscone Convention Center with Super Bowl 60. But we have 365 Sports Overtime. That's next. I got to reboot my YouTube channel because it went like that. We'll do that next after a commercial break. This is 365 Sports.
Have you heard of the new IRA? The new IRA, Insured Retirement Advantage, is a solution for high-income individuals and business owners who want to grow and protect their wealth without locking up capital or taking unnecessary risks. If you're an asset manager or a licensed insurance agent looking to provide your clients with guaranteed tax-free retirement income and legacy protection, the new IRA Insured Retirement Advantage is an option you need to know more about and is only available exclusively from North Star Funding Partners. For more information, go to northstarfundingpartners.com and tell them 365 Sports sent you.
Baylor Scott & White Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physicians for Baylor Athletics, diagnosing and treating all sports-related injuries, including concussions. These specialists also provide orthopedic services for athletes and non-athletes alike, whether it's knee or shoulder pain, a wrist injury, orthopedic spine care, and even an arthritis and total joint clinic. Trust the doctors Baylor Athletics trust. Baylor Scott & White Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics wants to get you back in the game.
Cars priced right, day and night. Average your car in Texas. Trucks built for you, red, white, and blue. Average your car in Texas. Cars that zoom with lots of room. Average your car in Texas. Count on us, a dealer to trust. Average your car in Waco, Texas.
Frazier added more numbers, more yards to those. Oh, they don't have them yet. Look at Tommy Frazier. How many tackles can one man break? Touchdown.
This is 365 Sports Overtime with David Smoak, and it's your time to be heard. Ask questions, voice an opinion, a few extra minutes with Smokey It right now.
Down the middle, that goes us right on the mark for a touchdown. Omar Cooper Jr.
365 Sports Overtime is sponsored by
Richard Car Motors, QC Kinetics, Baylor Scott & White Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, Edward Jones Financial Advisors, Ray Broker Air Conditioning and Heating, and North Star Funding Partners.
Now here's David Smoak.
Brandon Rowe running the mothership. We still have Logan, Andrew, and Garrett in the studio. Paul and Craig bolted. Well, Craig's still here. And we have 365 Sports Overtime. I don't know if you heard this note yesterday. We're going to start doing this on Fridays. We were Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We're going to be traveling next week, so I'm not sure how we'll do it next week because we're flying out Friday afternoon, evening. But 365 Sports Overtime, an extended show. I have 2 audio clips, right? Is that right, Brandon? A couple of audio clips. Got a question as well. Can we put up the URL or the graphic about how to submit anything? You can go to that link right there at the bottom. There's a barcode, of course, of us on the top right. 365 Sports Fan Mail Submission. Click on the link and, and then you could let your name, where you're from, etc. And they have to do that every time. You have to kind of give us an idea, like Frank in El Paso or whatever. And then you could put your note in there, a question, opinion, comment, whatever it is. And you can drag an audio file into that too, upload it into that. It is simple. And if you want to use, well, I'm not technologically smart, you need to get to be technologically smart, because I did an audio file that for whatever reason, when I was trying to forward it to Brandon and to the email address we used to use, which is at the bottom of the screen, don't use that anymore. Brandon, we're going to take that down starting after today. Don't send anything to that. You either do it by the submission or you don't. We want to hear from you, though, and I was able to even drag an audio file into that particular link. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. We've had a discussion the last 30 minutes or so about the NBA player who wants to get back into college, pretty much maybe has hit the wall with his career, wants an opportunity to go back and play. He wants an opportunity to make money, more money than he's even maybe perhaps making in the NBA. Now, I don't know what happened, but my internet feed just stopped. And a lot of yours apparently did too. Is that right? It looked like a lot of yours did too. So here we go. Let me see what I want to do today. Is the Super Bowl something that you, no matter what your schedule is, or a national, like the NCAA football national championship game or the Final Four or even the Masters, any round, I'm not doing anything. If I have to play golf later in the day or early enough in the day where I get to catch most of the Masters in the afternoon on a Saturday, Sunday, my weekend of what I do is set up during certain events. Is the Super Bowl to you a must-watch event? And on top of that, are you watching it because of the game, or watching it because everybody's going to talk about it the next day at work, or are you watching it because you're one of those that wants to see the commercials? I've never watched it for commercials. There have been some good ones. You got to remember, for about 20, 25 years, I was at the game, not bragging, but I was. So I would always hear people discussing the commercials. I never saw them because I was inside the stadium on what was auxiliary press row. And I never saw them. So just kind of curious about that. Let me see here. 365 Sports got it for next Friday on how to put something up. We're not going to probably be live next Friday, right, guys? We're flying back, so we won't be live. So 2 weeks from today, we will resume this on Friday, 2 weeks from today. Let's see here. You guys are talking about seeing Stevie Ray Vaughan in concert live. That's pretty darn cool. Sundown Smoky segment. Alan Makeda, good to hear from you. Let's see. What is the 365 Sports Overtime site information again? It's on the screen. It's literally on the screen. But let me see if I could peel this off, and then we'll take a couple of calls. Or is it right there? All right, I'm going to put this up in the chat. It's a lengthy link, but you shouldn't have to worry about that. And there you go, right here. I'm telling you now, I know some of you tried to send an audio file after we mentioned this. We have to like break you. We have to get you out of diapers on something like this. You have to get the kitty litter plan. I do too. I'm learning these things. Like look at this. I haven't shown this yet. You know what these are? These are all AirPods. I lose them like you would not believe. This one, can't find one of them. This one here, can't find one of them. This one here, I got two of them, but only one of them works. And so I went online on Amazon, and I guess what I did? I got AirPods number 6. I think they're AirPods 4, but what are you guys laughing at? Andrew and Logan. Hey, I can't help it. But you know what? I can hear now. I had to get these for me to be able to enjoy the trip to San Francisco. All right, so that's the link. Use it. Don't send me an email. Don't text me and say, hey, there it is. Use it. Use it. And it makes it easier for us to also get the audio. Let's start with retired stockbroker. I don't even know what the questions are. You know what? I think I do know his. Hold on before you did. Hold on before we get to that one. I need to get to the page. Hold on. Let's do this. Let's use the letter. Do we have the letter to put up from Scotty B? This is from, okay. How hypocritical is the NCAA has punished Oklahoma State women's tennis for tampering last summer when compared to doing nothing for all other sports programs that are tampering. The article I have attached is what happened in terms of punishment, and the head coach did eventually part ways with Oklahoma State. Scotty B, is that handwriting that the site puts up, or is that personal? Huh? I typed it. You typed it in. It looks like that's a nice little letter from about an 8th grader. I like that. That looks good. There he is, Scotty B, who's a massive Baylor fan. I mean, don't ever tell him he's not. I don't know. Hypocritical? Yeah, there's a lot of things about the NCAA hypocritical. We discussed some of that today on the show. Who's eligible? 5 years, 4 years, 3 years? Well, who's eligible? We don't even know that anymore. Now you have people challenging that. Players, lawyers, attorneys, agents, parents, whatever. It is hypocritical. It's hypocritical. I don't know all the details, by the way, of this. These are Baylor women's basketball players. Talia Scott, isn't she now with Baylor? She is. Kirsten Johnson and Kiara Pemberton. Everything it seemed like about the NCAA is pretty much hypocritical. Is it hypocritical that Oklahoma State had their team hit with violations, et cetera, infractions? Well, if they cheated, they cheated. You can say, oh, my God, but it's not cheating anymore. But it was then. It's hypocritical to me that if nothing happens with the CSC, the College Sports Commission, and nobody gets slapped for tampering. What's tampering? We don't even know what that is anymore. You would think we'd know. It's pretty simple. Look it up in the dictionary, whatever, Thesaurus, Webster's. Yeah, everything, a lot of things in the NCAA. One player can play 6, 7, 8 years, and one guy can't get an extra year for his 5th. Some guys can play one sport and then still have 3 or 4 years left to play another sport in college. And some can't get an extra year if they played lacrosse for 3 years. We discussed that story earlier today. Now, I want to get, I know what the question Chris is asking. And before I get what a retired stockbroker is asking, here we go. I want to get the list. I'm going to give it, what the hell? Go ahead and play it.
Hey, David, retired stockbroker from Lake Bigfoot. With all the rhetoric around the NFL Hall of Fame and Bill Belichick, and you, of course, being a Texas high school football Hall of Fame media member, can you name a player, a coach, and a media member in the state of Texas that deserves to be in the Texas High School Football Hall of Fame? Thank you.
Thank you, retired stockbroker. I have the list that's going in this year. I'm on the committee that sets the ballot, but I recused myself of it when they talked about contributors, which is what I went in back in May in an unbelievable moment. There are, I know I'm going to say there are probably a good 15 or 20. I really do think there are probably 15 or 20 high school coaches that should be a part of the Texas Hall of Fame, Texas High School Hall of Fame. I really do mean that. And what I mean by that is that one coach went in. The next year, one coach went in. On the ballot, there might be 5, 6, 7 coaches, and then the next year, one coach would go in. Well, you can figure that out. One coach goes in, one goes on the ballot. It replaces that, right? Players have one per decade, 1960s and 70s, 1980s and 90s, whatever. A player gets inducted, voted in, inducted, and then somebody replaces him. And there are some criteria that if it depends on how many votes you eventually get or don't get, you could also be taken off the ballot. High school coaches, I got to tell you, there are, to me, a good 24 or more that, in my opinion, that should be a part of it. I'm gonna put up a list. All right, Steve Lineweaver, Alan Wilson, who was a coach at Paris, won a title. Was at Dallas Carter, did really well. Won a state championship at John Tyler. He's not in the High School Hall of Fame. Needs to be. Now, some of these are because they're just now getting on the ballot. this is Homer. Call me Bob Mickler. He coached where I went to school. I went to 3 high schools in 4 years because I was in Japan for 3 of those years. Came back to San Antonio, went to Randolph High School. Bob Mickler Jr., who literally, other than my father, is among that very small handful of my heroes. You know, I could say Joe Gibbs and Tom Osborne, but I played for Bob Mickler. He's no longer with us, hasn't been for a while. He's among the top 25 winningest coaches ever. He was at a school that you never knew if players were either coming in or coming out, like the transfer, because he's a military school. Colonel Bagesti could get transferred overseas or to California. You know what? If Logan was a sophomore and a badass and about to be a junior and a player at linebacker, his dad transferred to California, he gone. You don't know when those guys are coming in and out. I was a senior that transferred in my senior year from Japan. And then, yes, there are sometimes players who transfer in because you're a military high school or a high school and a military base, which that might get overlooked. John Outlaw from Lufkin, major impact when he came in from Arkadelphia in Arkansas, then Sherman, then Lufkin. Unbelievable. I don't see him in the Texas High School Football Hall of Fame. There are Jack Murphy from Gladewater. It took Dennis Alexander from Dangerfield, and I'm going to stop talking high school football because I know you're getting bored. Dennis Alexander, over 300 wins, won state championships twice at Dangerfield, maybe the greatest team in the history of all ever in 1983, and 16-0, gave up 8 points in 16 games, 14 shutouts, and it took forever to get him in. Sometimes it's about how many people did you get along with, or are you a handshaker? And I'm not saying all the coaches, any of the coaches in it are politically in it, but there's a little bit of that goes on. And some guys just, kind of like Bill Belichick, rubbed you the wrong way or whatever. So players, I don't have the list of the players in front of me. I tell you what I will do, retired stockbroker, and I'm not trying to kick the can down the road. I have the magazine, the year that last May when I was inducted. I'm going to look, and I'll have plenty of names for you. I'll do that next week. And then, of course, contributors, yes. Jerry Forrest, pigskinprep.com. Carl Padilla from the Padilla poll. Contributors, broadcasters, newspaper writers. There's a whole bunch of them that should be a part of it. All right. Do we have another audio clip? This is from who? Go ahead.
Hey, Smoak. As a Nebraska fan, I'm just wondering if you would entertain the idea of Nebraska coming back to the Big 12. After all, you did win 2 Big 12 championships, albeit back in the 90s. However, if we set the money disparity aside, would you like for Nebraska to come back to the Big 12?
Yeah, the money disparity, you can't just take that away, because nobody would give up an extra 40 or whatever, $50 million a year compared to what they're making now as a part of the Big Ten. I get it. It helped our podcast. The reason we grew, hopefully, was because we bring what we bring to you every day, the content, interviews, and discussion, opinions. But college football conference realignment is why we grew, period. When Texas and OU in the summer of 21 the story pops. Brent Zerneman. They're leaving. I mean, A&M, there were people at those schools, only like 3 people in the entire school knew, right? Chris Del Conte and Kevin Eltife, the president, and maybe, I don't know, 1 or 2 others, because they had to keep it quiet. Wasn't it Ross Bjork? Who was it at A&M at the time? It was like, well, you must be making a mistake. It's like the time when the Cowboys, somebody called Tex Schramm Saturday night or whatever it was, when Jimmy Johnson and Jerry Jones were spotted at a Mexican food restaurant in Dallas having dinner together, and a reporter contacted Tex Schramm and said, hey, we have a report here. It was Channel 5 in Dallas. We have a report here that Jerry Jones is about to buy the Cowboys from Bum Bright. Tex Schramm was the general manager and president, and was like one of the faces of the, not Landry, but in that same realm. He's in the Hall of Fame. He's like, young man, I think you are making a Terrible mistake if you report that. It wasn't because he was denying it. He didn't even know. Like the next day, that night, maybe the story popped. Kim, that's a great question. Yes, because I get to watch them more, even if they're who they are right now, which is not very good. I would like that. I don't know if they would be able to recruit any better in Texas as a part of the Big 12 as they are a part of the Big 10. If you're good, you get what you want, you find what you want. I know this. They won the Big 12 championship in 1997, the year after they were stunned by Texas. They won it in 99 when they beat the hell out of Texas, beat up Major Applewhite. And then they played for it, like 3 or 4 other times since then, maybe. But yeah, it's would I like it? Yeah, I get to cover them more because we cover a lot of the Big 12. Are they in a better place? They just need to figure it out. They're making all the money you want. Now they got to go find, can Matt Rule make some decisions and build that roster and get it done? They're not going to go out and spend anybody. They're not going to get 4- and 5-star players. They really never have. But would I like to see them back in the Big 12? Hell yeah, I would. Selfishly, I would. No question about it. All right, let me see here. What else we got? Is the Canadian Wildcats former head coach in it? Paxton, I would say no, but I don't have the book in front of me. I do know he has been honored before, but I would say no because I don't know if he's been out long enough. I don't know if there's no, like when I haven't retired and I was put in as a contributor, I don't know if there's any, like, you have to be out a certain amount of time. I don't remember. I don't think anything's ever been that way. I'll say one more thing about the High School Hall of Fame. There's so many players that need to be in, so many coaches need to be in, contributors, etc. So back jam, a log jam, like there is in the in Pro Football Hall of Fame. There is. Let me see. Who's your Dave? You could have Nebraska, but you got to take Penn State too. From Paxton, Nebraska needs a quarterback and a badass defense again. They haven't had a badass defense in Ndamukong Suh. That's 2009. Now, that was a badass defense. Kim once told me that Ndamukong Suh was a mean, nasty son of a bitch. I need 12 of him. Thank you. All right. Kim, I couldn't think of anything else to ask. You panicked. I answered it. Let's see. Coach Jerry Hunchel, Excalibur 4 said should be in. There are a bunch, and I am going to get the High School Hall of Fame and bring that with me the next time, and I can just rattle through it. Retired stockbroker, great question. But yes, the answer is yes. A lot of players, coaches, and contributors should be a part of it. Is that it? Now, put the graphic up, Brandon, if you don't mind. I just said Paxton and Brandon and Braxton. Copy this. Take a picture of it. We will put it up in the chat, Andrew, on Fridays, right? Like during the day a couple of different times. We will do Fridays, not next week. We're flying back from San Francisco in the Super Bowl the week of. We'll do it starting the Fridays after that. And if I'm on a golf trip, screw it. We won't do it on Fridays. And then when we get to football season, we'll start to do this on Mondays, which really was my original intent, coming off the weekend of games. And I hope that we get a bunch of you who ask the questions and send in quite a few of your audio clips as well. All right. Favorite Super Bowl game in memory, Fight On? My favorite Super Bowl, like covering my favorite Super Bowl, has to be when the New England Patriots, Tom Brady, beat the greatest show on turf, the Rams, Kurt Warner, Marshall Faulk, Torrey Holt, Isaac Bruce, that team, when Anna Vinatieri kicked the field goal. I'm glad you asked this. And I know when he kicked the field goal to win it. It was Dennis Haiti who asked me this question. Let me see here. Dennis Haiti asked me this question about the Super Bowl and about covering that first year of Tom Brady. This young man right here, his name is Fred Coleman, number 84. Fred Coleman played at what was Lee High School in Tyler, now it's Legacy. He got a scholarship to Washington. He used to catch touchdown passes from a kid at Lee High School named Andy Newberry. They were fun to watch. And he was fantastic. Great player. Caught a touchdown at the end of the game to beat Euless Trinity, or go overtime with Euless Trinity. It was shocking. Like, oh, my God, it was a huge in 1991. 91 or 92. Well, goes to Washington. Really good. I don't know if he got drafted or not, But the year that New England made their run with Tom Brady, New England, if you go back and look at their record, they were, 3-3, 3-4, 2-3, whatever it was. New England signs Fred Coleman. They're playing the Jets. See the background? There's the Jets. They're playing the Jets, and they're, I think, trailing. It might have been a third or critical play around midfield, and Tom Brady, this is the play, fires a pass to Fred Coleman. Fred Coleman caught it. Here's what he said to me. To Smokey, Fred Coleman, world champ, Super Bowl, what was that, 36, I guess it was. Yeah. Best sportscaster ever, thanks a million. That's from Fred Coleman. This has got stuff all over the... Now, after the game, they go and play the Super Bowl. They beat the Rams. Vinatieri kicks a field goal. He did that against the Raiders in the snow, if you'll remember. This is after the game. I found this in my... I think I told Dennis that I had this. He asked, do I have... This is after the game. The background, it's inside the New Orleans Superdome. Here's the cushion, the seat cushion you get when you're at the game. I'm wearing an old, windbreaker with KTBB radio and Tyler. I got a Super Bowl cap that I probably bought just to cover my head. Fred is crying his eyes out. Is another signature to him. Appreciate what he did, world champions. You see I got a bag. Fred, it's a recorder, an old a tape cassette recorder interviewing Fred Coleman on the field as everything's coming down, streamers, all the fireworks inside. And I've had these pictures since back in 2000, 2001, something like that. And I've had these in the studio as we thought that maybe the Rams and Patriots were going to play. Garrett, thank you. Brandon, I know you got to go. I do too. Logan and also Andrew, thank you very much for those of you in the chat. I want this to grow. We will make changes. We will have suggestions from you. You could put them in even that URL that you right there. Please copy that down. If you have something you want to record in your phone, go to that link. You can slide it into the link. Got a couple of questions we want to know a little bit about you too. Thank you, Andrew, for putting that together. All right, next time we talk will be Monday at Super Bowl 60, Radio Row at the Moscone Convention Center in San Francisco. 365 Sports Overtime. Have a great weekend.